Alright, let's get this bread, boys. Remember never to say that again. Ugh. Hold on. Alright, we're back for hopefully the last time. I'm planning on finishing the story tonight. Hopefully. Because when we left off like 2 days ago, we were just getting ready for the final battle, I believe. So. Please watch your step, my lady. This forest is treacherous and it is filled with any number of strange creatures. I cannot let you get hurt. I'll be alright, I said as much, didn't I? I'm gonna stay by your side until the bitter end. Barney. Leofia looks to me, a small smile on her face. And then the moment passes and her smile fades. It's a warm day and the bright sunshine spills from the blue sky. The sunshine filters through the green leaves and that stir around us, dyeing it pale green. The leaves on the trees rustle and a few loose sticks snap beneath the heels of my shoes. When I strain my ears, I swear I can hear faint whispers mixed in with the soft, earthly sounds of nature. So, she's back again. Humans just don't learn their lessons, do they? And she brought somebody else with her too. That girl, could it be? Because of her, this should be rather entertaining. Eerie laughter danced through the forest. I shudder. This forest is full of strange beings that lurk beyond the bounds of my limited imagination. I can't see them, but they can see me. They hide inside the hollows of old trees, peeking out from shadowy places my woefully inadequate eyes can't measure. Do these voices belong to Grand's fairies? Perhaps they're soft, cute creatures like you'd expect from a Disney film. Excitedly family friendly, with shining wings and shimmering hair that falls in waves like golden corn. But I'm not very optimistic. I can't see these strange beings, but I doubt they're anything like the sanitized fairies who painted picture books. The creatures laugh with moss-flecked teeth, their fingers gnarled like tree roots, pale purple lichens sprouting between their toes. These beings, whatever they are one of the forest, or plant than person perhaps, and is it any wonder I can't see them? They're too fantastical for dull, mundane eyes like mine. I'd never be able to understand them. All I can do is fear them. If I get my pace, my anxious heart humming inside my chest, I walk toe to toe with Leofia, huddling inside her shadow, my eyes flicking here and there like a lizard's. In this changing, muting, shifting forest, Leofia is so very alive. She's the only constant I can trust. It's just because she's here that I can keep going. I must keep going. Marnie? Leofia casts me another anxious glance. I think she's more concerned for my welfare than my own. Is something the matter? You look awfully pale. I'm always pale. I know that, but you seem paler than usual. You aren't getting cold feet, are you? No, it's fine. It's just I've never seen a fairy before. Do you know what they look like? If I did, the memories are faint and hazy now. They are secretive creatures that do not like showing themselves before humans, but some people believe they are instinctually kind and good. And you? I'm rather more skeptical. I think some fairies are wicked and they mean to do us harm. Yeah, I gathered as much. I appreciate having it spelled out though. I mean, I just hope we better get to see a fairy. The game's named after fairies. We need to see one of them. We resume our walk through the forest. Faint whispers follow us all the while, crisscrossing tree to tree like spider webs, forever out of sight. Here they come, here they come. It's just like she said. She knows how they think. Silly human. Silly knight. Does she think she can save him? She should sooner save herself. Yes, save yourself. Run from this place while you have a chance. But we all know she won't. She's far too stubborn. That's what got her into this mess to begin with. Well, that's what happens when you fall in love. Fate laughter of dozens of fairies knife against my skin, sliding between my ribs, like so my blood runs cold. Do the birds really mean anything, or are they simply trying to make me squirm? I walk along with unsteady, uneasy gait. My legs tremble badly. I wish I could grab hold of Leofi for support, but I don't want to slow her down. Doing my best to remain stoic, for my anxiety must show on my face as Leofi pauses. She glances at me, her eyes heavy with concern. Are you alright, Barney? Is something the matter? It's fine, I was just wondering. Can you hear those voices too? They're everywhere when you get this far into the forest. It's better to ignore them, I think. I've been trying, but it's hard. Saying some pretty ominous stuff. Marnie. Sophie walks towards me, frowning, and gently tips my chin with 2 fingers. Our eyes meet, blue and brown, and I know, my heart pounding, face flushing, that I can't hide anything from her. I've shared too much of myself with her over the last few days. She knows me too well. You're shaking. Yeah, I'm cold, that's all. But it's rather warm. It's a rather warm day. I have to wonder. You weren't scared, are you? I take a step away from Leofi, shrugging off her hand and turn churlishly to one side. I know how to be scared in a situation like this. That's true enough, I suppose. Why can't I help but fear for your safety? If you want, I can always escort you back to the entrance of the forest. Perhaps that would be better for both of us, if you were hurt. No. A single syllable falls from my lips with more power than I intended, and even I'm stopping short of how harsh I sound. Oh, I apologize. I do not mean to upset you. I'm sorry if I said anything untoward, my lady. No, it's fine. I scuff a hooked tree root, protruding from the ground like a snare with the tip of my trainer. Didn't do anything wrong. But I made you feel unwanted, didn't I? That is why you reacted so violently, and I can't understand that. I also dislike being told no, but please try to understand that I'm not saying this because I don't enjoy your company. I like being by your side, and your presence gives me courage, but this forest is no place for humans. You're a human too, aren't you? Maybe I was once, but now, who knows? I was asleep for centuries. Normal humans can't do that, nor without their bones turning to dust and ash. I must have been protected by some kind of enchantment. Enchantment or not, you're still Leofi, and I don't want to leave you. No matter where I am, I feel safe when I'm with you. Even if we're walking into some kind of trap? Even so, I don't care about that. I've come too far now, I can't turn back. The thought of being parted from her is terrifying, even more so than whatever lurks amongst the trees. We have to do this together, otherwise there's no point. I can support you and you can support me. Isn't that how this is meant to work? You make a sound argument. Perhaps I was letting my own worries get to me. But you have made me see sense, as you always do. As your knight, I must listen to your wishes. And as your lover, I have an obligation to make them come true. Aww. We're lovers now? What else would we be? We did kiss. I know that, but lovers sounds a little too, you know. Is it too old-fashioned? Maybe a little. That's sort of things adults say, but I'm not an adult yet. On that note, I wonder how old Leofi is. I don't think she's much older than I am. That's something you should probably find out before you kiss someone, you know? She might have been sleeping for centuries, but I think she's only 17 or 18. I don't know, I never asked. And if she dies here, I'll never get the chance. Marnie, are you alright? It's hard to say. I turn away awkwardly. Embarrassment must be catching. And scratch my cheek with my index finger. I can feel the heat emitting from my own skin. Not for the first time, I curse my pale skin. Whenever I blush, it shows up so easily it's impossible to hide any of my emotions. Not that I need to when I'm with Leofi. Just a dumb teenager and I don't know much about anything, but it would be nice if you could be my girlfriend, maybe? Girlfriend? Leofei tilts her head to one side. It's a foreign concept to me. You are a girl, and you're my friend. There is no need to state it so, but I suppose I have no issue with it. It does roll off the tongue quite nicely. Then you can be my girlfriend. I brush a few strands of hair behind my ear and blink at Leofei shyly. That being the case, I can't leave you here. I care about you, corny as it sounds, and I don't want to abandon you, you know? I don't want to abandon you now. Not when you're going to face the biggest challenge yet. I can't. I wouldn't be much of a girlfriend if I let you down now. Oh, Marnie. Leofei smells sweetly. Your fond feelings towards me are very special indeed. I was not accustomed to hearing such kind words during my time. I was spurned by many because of my desire to come at night. Even my own brother turned his back on me. Nobody supported me, but you were different. No matter which path I chose, though it may have been a thorny and fraught with danger, you always wish to stand by me. That is more than I had ever hoped for. So saying, Leofei bends down on one knee, the loose leaves on the ground rustling, and takes her hand in mine. No matter what happens, we shall stay together, I promise. And she pressures her cold, cool lips against the back of my trembling hand. I'm gonna be real, right? I'm gonna be so real. This shit would have me swooning. I'm a huge sucker for all that romantic shit. I'd be dead. Leofei and I walk even deeper into the woods, flanked on all sides by whispering trees and mocking laughter. I try to shut my ears to these invisible creatures, but their words are able to snake for my defenses regardless. They won't leave me alone. Trees around us grow thicker and thicker, and the sliver of sky above my head begins to close up like Surturid wind. The ground becomes more uneven. It's positively littered with tree stumps and hooked and evil-looking roots. But there are more flowers too. I recognize these flowers. Spread across the ground like a blanket, their petals pale blue, cupped like bells. In the distance, I can hear the faint sound of running water. We're almost there. This is the lake where I first met Esmond. Perhaps Leofei can sense his presence too, because she hurries ahead, her expression grimly determined. I break into a half-run to keep up with her, cursing my short legs all the while. I've only been born into the body I'd always wanted. Tall and statuesque, with black hair and dark eyes. A regular Morticia Addams. But I'm not Morticia Addams, or even Wednesday Addams. I'm Marnie Lennox, and I'm small and weak. My skin turns pink too easily, and if cut, it would bleed too easily. I feel less weak on Leofei, though that sounds incredibly corny. She gives me the strength to keep going. I chase after her, keeping pace as best I can until the trees around me begin to thin, and I can see a strip of clear blue water in the distance. It's the lake! We finally made it back here, and where this crazy story first began to unfold. And we aren't alone. There he is, it's the man! It's our boy! A knight stands at the edge of the lake, staring out over the water. He wears leather gloves and steel greaves, and the helmet upon his head hides his face from view. When Leofei sees him, she gasps and darts forward, one hand upon her heart. My brother! Oh, my dear brother! Leofei seems to have forgotten about her own safety. She doesn't even bother to summon her sword. Perhaps she believes, or wants to believe, that this time he won't hurt her. How could he? He's her family. He's all she's got left. I know Leofei loves him a good deal, but... I told you not to call me that, imposter! Edmund unsheathes his blade and points it at Leofei's throat, the silvery sword shimmering in the sunlight, promising pain. Edmund's sword is definitely no prop. With one single well-placed blow, he'd be able to sever Leofei's skin from her bones. This is the sword that gouged Leofei's shoulder, spilling goblets of blood all over the ground. Esmond has hurt Leofei once before, badly, but it looks like she's already forgiven him. She loves him too much. Please, brother, please, still your blade. I do not wish to fate you. I could not bear to hurt you. It was funny that he would say... Say that when you were the root of all my suffering. Were it not for you, none of this would have happened. You are the one who led my sister astray, and now you must pay the price.
But Edmund, don't you see I am your sister?
No, you are not. You are a being who merely pretends to be my sister. You've done a very poor job of it. I never wanted my sister to become a knight, but she's still 10 times a knight you are.
And what do you mean by that?
No knight worth his salt would back down from a challenge such as this. I wish to fight to protect my family's honor. You refuse. Is that because you were a coward? Or is it because you have no honor of your own to place upon the line? Which is it?
Oh, Edmund, please come to your senses. I don't want to fight you because I love you. We should be working together to defeat Lynette. We shouldn't be at each other's throats like wolves. Why can you not see that?
The only one unable to see clearly is you. At first I thought you meant to mock me, but now I am not so sure. You have steeped yourself in lies for so very long. You have begun to believe them. You surely think you are her, and I am your brother. Edmund shakes his head. In a way, I suppose I pity you. You are a sad husk with nothing of your own. Oh shit, thanks for the follow. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name. I'm absolutely dreadful at names. As you're probably... Well, you would have been able to tell. Every time a new name shows up, I spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out how it's pronounced. Anyway. You're a sad husk with nothing of your own. You have no hopes or dreams or aspirations, so you stole hers. You stole her name and her sword. Now you're even trying to steal my heart. But I shan't let you have it. Pathetic though you are, you will not sway me. With an enraged roar like an injured animal, Edmund strikes. His sword flashing beneath the summer sunshine, he swings at Leofi in a wide arc. Leofi is able to dodge just in time. She summons her own sword and thrusts it forward, parrying. The two blades clash and sparks fly as the pair trade blow after blow.
Please, my brother, listen to me. I do not wish to hurt you.
You have hurt me more than enough already. I will not let you deceive me, though you may have deceived yourself. I will not become a willing audience for your delusions. Edmund pushes Leofi back, his shoes sinking into the dirt. Leofi tries to stand her ground, but Edmund is far more physically imposing than she. He's taller with broader shoulders, and she can't stagger him. With a simple power struggle, Leofi will obviously lose. Perhaps that's why she chooses to retreat. Leofi jumps back, avoiding Edmund's blade, and then skirts around him. Her brown hair streams behind her like a veil. I wonder if it ever gets in the way when she's fighting.
Very well, then I shall answer violence with violence.
I have no desire to hurt you, but I will not stand idle and let you make the grimmest mistake of your life. Leofi swings her sword at Edmund. There was reflecting time, but Leofi dances to one side yet again, striking another blow and another. She's moving so fast I can scarcely keep track of her.
Father entrusted you with my protection, Edmund. We were family. We were supposed to look out for one another. His words should hold true even now. I will not let you break your promise.
Silence! What do you know of my father?
I know everything that you know, but it's my father too.
Edmund's sword meets Leofi's over and over again. Steel clanging against steel, and Edmund tries to push her back, knocking her down, run through, but Leofi is too fast. She isn't giving him a single opening. Her footwork is light and nimble. She's positively running rings around her brother.
You told father you should look after me. That's why you were always so averse to the idea of me becoming a knight. You said that you wanted to protect me, but how will you protect me now if you sever my head from my body and spill my blood over the ground?
I did promise that, yes, but not to you. You were not my sister. She never loved you when she was alive. She said and now she is dead and gone. You were pretending to be her. You would wear her skin as a mantle if you could.
I don't know who told you that, but your mind has been poisoned. You are very, very sick, my brother, but fear not. I am still your sister and I love you and I will heal you. I'd hoped I could talk some sense into you. But if talking is not possible, I will have to stop you with force instead. I will even kill you if I must, but I do not wish to. Hurting you is the last thing I want. But I would rather turn into a villain to save your soul than let you condemn yourself to hell. Leofi circles Edmund, which strikes out. She strikes out once, twice, thrice, each time her sword meaning his. Edmund's rage leads his blows more strength, but he lacks Leofi's finesse. It's clear he has less experience than she does. He's outmatched. You have never been able to best me in a fair fight. Won't you think you can triumph now? If you do not stop this madness, I really will kill you. Do you really think that you frightened me, vile monster? I have been trapped in this forest for centuries. In spirit, I am already dead. If you were to fell me, I would almost welcome it, but I wouldn't go down alone. If I cannot defeat you, I'll have to take this girl down with me. What? Edmund changes the course of attacks. I can feel the animosity extruding from him in waves. He knows he can't defeat Leofi, that's why he's targeting me. Leofi got hurt last time trying to protect me. He cut open her shoulder. Looks like she was in a lot of pain. I can't let that happen again. You coward, how dare you! I won't let you use me to hurt you, Leofi. Big words for such a small girl. As it is, you can't even fight. You have no weapon. Maybe not, but I'm not gonna roll over and let you kill me, you asshole. Edmund charges at me, his sword drawn, but for once in my life, I'm the faster one. If only Miss Whitman were here, she might even be proud of me. Who would have thought that Marnie Lennox, the chronic skiver who's got stomach cramps every single PE lesson, would be able to outrun a medieval knight nursing a centuries-long grudge? I never imagined such a thing would be possible, though to be fair, that whole situation is eminently unbelievable. I guess when your life is on the line, you can do anything. I dash past Edmund, narrowly avoiding his blade, and wade out into the lake. The water is alarmingly cold despite the warm weather, and I gasp as it sucks in all the heat from my body. My shoes are soaked, and so are my leggings. I'm getting water in my favorite pair of boots, and the heels are sinking into the mud. But I cannot let that deter me. There are more important things in life. If I wade this far out, surely he won't be able to follow. Won't his armor weigh him down? That was my reasoning, but I won't let you get away. You who look so much like my sister. Your existence is an eyesore. If I am to die, I will make sure you kiss the edge of my blade. Then come and get me. You will soon regret those words, you demon. Edmund lumbers into the lake, eyes narrow as the water ripples around his steel greaves. His armor is weighing him down, he can barely move his legs. In his thirst for revenge, he's completely forgotten himself. This should give Leofi enough of an opening to take this foul beast. My lady, no! Ah! I pitched embarrassing curly screech, wrenches its way from my throat. Trying to duck behind a nearby rock, but it's too late. I thought the water would slow him down, but he's moving with a speed I didn't anticipate. I guess centuries of plotting revenge can do things to people. It can imbue them with almost superhuman strength. Or maybe you could call it determination. Yo, Undertale reference? Holy shit. For whatever reason, Edmund wants me dead, and there's nothing to achieve his goal. His sword is a hair's breadth away from me. I breathe in. My nerves are on fire. Grant's necklace, secreted away in my pocket, is colder than ice. The moment I breathe out, the finishing blow will come. He'll kill me. He should kill me at least, but... Edmund staggers. He's bleeding, and the wound looks fatal. But... how? Oh shit! Luffy stands behind Edmund, her face pale and contorted with concentration. Her fingers gripping the blade of her sword so tightly her knuckles turn white. Water ripples around her feet, a few droplets of water glistening on the hem of her tunic, the hilt of her sword. Water that slowly, very slowly, begins to turn pale pink like raspberry lemonade. The blade of Leofi's sword penetrates her brother's back, between his shoulder blades. Leofi's aim, even during a frantic time such as this, is impeccable.
Her skills of a sword are second to none. And Edmund, despite being older than she, was no match for her. Ugh. Edmund staggers back. His body jerks as though he can no longer control it. The blow must have struck a vital point, his heart perhaps, because he's losing blood at a rapid pace. It stains the back of his armor, tore it asunder as per a Trip Pepper. For all his talk of revenge, he couldn't kill Leofi. His determination was stronger than his. Her determination was stronger than his, and now he's paying the price. Edmund collapses in the shadows of the lake. He slumps forth, gargling blood, while Leofi crouches beside him. Part of Leofi's tunic is stained for brother's blood, but she doesn't seem to notice. Edmund was her beloved brother. He was the last remaining member of her family, and she killed him. She tore his life away from his body with her own two hands, all to save me. She did this for my sake. She was able to rescue me, but... Edmund. Oh, Edmund. Livia holds her brother, still slowly dying, body against her chest. Her eyes are damp with tears and her shoulders shake badly. My stupid, foolish brother. Slowly, Ophi takes Edmund's helmet and lifts it from his head. Finally, I can see what he looks like in vivid, almost too vivid detail. He's been alive for hundreds of years, but he's still a person, a human. He's not that different from me. His eyes are pale, watery blue. Perhaps their pigmentation ran dry for the centuries of salty tears. His lips are full, his nose alquine, and he has a firm jaw. I suppose one could call him handsome in a sense. He really does look like a knight from a fairy story. But it's too late for him now. Oh, Edmund. Why did it have to turn out like this? I didn't want to harm you. If only you'd listened to me, then maybe this could have been avoided. There was no need for us to come to blows, not like this. What would dear father say if he were still alive? If he knew what his children had come to, he would be turning over in his grave of grief. We were supposed to protect one another. I became a knight so I could keep you and father safe. So why did you insist upon fighting me? No. No. Edmund's lost so much blood he can barely twitch his fingertips. He still meets Leofi's gate of his own. His pale eyes are glazed over like stained glass. He doesn't look away. Even as the life faded in his body, which has been animated for far too long, refuses to die easily, really is stubborn. You don't understand. Even now, you don't understand. You grieve, but you have no reason to mourn for me. You never liked me anyway. Of course I like you. You're my dear brother. I love you. I love you more than anything. You might think that, but Edmund coughs weakly. Droplets of red blood wet his lips and he groans. Edmund, oh, please, dear brother. Don't say another word. I don't want you to strain yourself. Edmund laughs weakly. Don't you think it's too late for that? It's too late for me, but you should know. Yes, my brother, what is it? You might think you are Leofi, even now, but you're not. You were, only ever, pretending. It was a good pretense. At times, I almost believed you. I wanted to believe you. It would have been so wonderful to hug you again like I used to. It was my dearest wish that I could see my sister again. But, though you knew her well, you are not her. You will never be her. I couldn't protect my sister's body, but I wanted to protect your soul. I vowed I would cut down all those who mocked her memory. But you have bested me. Maybe that means your love for her is stronger than mine. What do you mean, Esmond? Please speak to me. Tell me what you mean. Only that you loved her a lot. But your love was unable to save her. She's already dead, and we are all suffering for it. But now, I do not have to wonder if this world
this world any. I don't have to wander this world any longer. I will meet her in the afterlife, and finally we will be united. I've been looking forward to this moment for so long. It's strange. Edmund sighs, his eyelashes trembling as he stares into Leofi's startled face. I should hate you. It's my hatred for you that kept me alive for so long, but at the end, none of that seemed to matter. I just hope you, too, can find your own peace, so that you may be free of your own curse. And so it is, with a low, rattling breath that makes my skin turn to ice. Edmund's head lolls, his eyes fall shut, and then his breathing stops. So does his heart. He doesn't get back up again. I know that he never will. This forest might be enchanted, but it's impossible to bring back the dead back to life. Well, shit, I didn't think the story would go this dark. It's no Heart of the Woods, but still. Already dead, am I? Luffy sits on the tree stump, one leg folded over the other. Her eyes are narrowed, one hand beneath her chin, probably stroking an non-existent beard. Luffy's tunic was once splattered with her brother's blood, but it's already faded. Edmund himself has vanished too, his body disappearing as though it never existed. Luffy clung to him by the lakeside, her arms wrapped around him for as long as she could, as a mother might cradle her child. She ran her hands through his hair and sung him lullabies in a strange, lighting language I couldn't understand, until the water that lapped at his fingers began to eat right through him. Ezra's body disappeared into the air like smoke, leaving behind not a trace, no blood nor bone nor any armor, not even his thirst for revenge. Nothing. Everything about Edmund has vanished from this world, but I suppose that's to be expected. He wasn't meant to exist in this world for so long in the first place. He should have died a long, long time ago, but he was bound in place for centuries by some kind of curse. Or maybe you could call it an obsession. He wanted to see Leofi again, but... He said that I was dead, but how can that be? I am not dead. I am very much alive, though I should have passed away centuries ago. You said that you found me sleeping in the forest, correct? That's right. There was a scratch on you. You look calm and peaceful like a doll. It must have been magic that induced me to sleep for so long. I was lost in my slumber for centuries. In a sense, it was quite like that. But you awoke me, my lady, so I could fight for your honor. I've drunk in so many wonderful sights and eaten so much delicious food and learned so much about this new world. I can't be dead. I can still feel the sunlight on my face and the wind from my hair. My muscles ache after walking for so very long, and my bones feel weak and weary. My heart too. Love presses a hand against her chest. It does hurt. I can feel pain. And if I were dead, that wouldn't be possible. I shouldn't be alive, it is true, but I am. That is indisputable. I exist, and I won't let anybody take that away from me. Luffy's voice is feverish. I don't think I've ever seen her look so worked up before. Everything's changed since Luffy went to sleep. Even Fen Chapel, with its teeny tiny population, is bigger and vaster and grander than anything Luffy knew in her time period. We have indoor plumbing now, and electricity, and the internet. We have the wonders Luffy could never even imagine in her time, because it was so far separated from all that she knew. So all must have been incredibly alienating to her. She still tried to press on. Maybe she could keep going because of her brother. He was still alive, in a manner of speaking, and he tied her to the past. Now that tie has been severed. He's dead. Luffy killed him. He's gone, but you're still alive, Luffy. You are. Take Luffy's hand in my own and squeeze them, willing her to look at me. Her hands feel hard and calloused after gripping her sword so tightly, but this doesn't dissuade me. If anything, it makes me want to cling to her all the more. Edmund said you were dead, but he was obviously wrong. You're with me and you're real, and that's not something you can be argued with. And that is precisely what's bothering me. He said that Leofi was dead, but I'm still alive. The book we found in the library said much the same thing. The brave knight who faced a dragon in Fenchapel Forest was run through. They died. If I am really that knight, I should be dead too. Maybe you did die once, but this forest is filled with mysterious creatures. You said so. You said as much yourself. What if they took pity on you and they rescued you before you passed away? You could have preserved your body within the woods for centuries, waiting for somebody to find you. But I put it like that, it kind of sounds like Snow White. There are dwarves, but Lynette might have passed for an evil queen. Would that make Esmond the huntsman? How do I fit into this equation, though? Since I'm the one who brought Leofi back to life, I guess I'd have to be the prince. Yeah, right, there's nothing remotely regal about me. The pieces don't line up as well as I thought. Thank goodness, I don't want to get sued over by Bob. I owe Eager. Eager? Do you think that's possible? I don't know what's possible and what isn't. I don't know anything about fairies. But I do know you, Leofi. I don't think you'd ever lie to me. I've known her a brief amount of time, but I've had a pretty good assessment of her character now. If I had to write her end-of-term report, I wouldn't use the stock phrasing, Miss Gilsby put on my report, lazy and disagreeable for those who are interested. I'd call Leofi brave, noble, hardworking, and above all else, earnest. She's not a liar. If she was, I would never have grown to care for her so much. I don't think that I would lie either, but perhaps I've been lying to myself. If I accept my brother's words as face value, then it would seem that he is not really my brother, that I am not really Leofi. I only think I'm Leofi. I've been borrowing her name in past, but nothing about me is truly mine. Could be possible. But that makes no sense. Leofi pushes me away and begins to pace, her fingers running through her hair. I remember the crippling grief I felt when my mother died. I remember playing at being a knight with my brother in the forest, fending off his blows with a wooden stick. I remember my earnest desire to protect my home, and the desertion of my father's friends when they heard of my ambitions. I remember it all down to the last detail. How can these memories not be mine? If I am not Leofi, then there's nothing left of me. I wouldn't even be a person anymore. I'd be like a pot whose contents have been tipped out. I'll be empty. No, that's not true. You won't be empty. And how do you know that? Being Leofi is all I know. Her past is mine, and we're the same, then I won't have a history. Her past is mine. If we're the same, then I don't have a history anymore. Can't answer any questions about your past, but take a step towards Leofi. She's hunched in on herself, trembling. Suddenly she looks so very small and uncertain that I'm struck with a desperate desire to protect her. Just want to make her feel better. You may be unsure of your past, but you still have a present. You have the here and now, and you have me. Oh. For my arms around Leofi's waist tightly, enveloping her in a warm embrace. I don't think she was expecting my embrace because she staggers back surprised. But Marnie! Shh! It'll be alright. Please don't cry. Leofi's hair tickles my cheek. I can smell her scent. The comforting aroma of Johnson's baby shampoo emanates from her, light and inoffensive. She was alarmingly skinny in my arms. I'm afraid she might turn to dust and air like her brother. If Edmund really is her brother. I know I can't do much for you, Leofi, but no matter what happens, no matter whether you're really Leofi or not, I care about you and I trust you and I want to stay with you. Marnie. Leofi blinks at me a few moments, nonplussed. She sniffs, and I'm alarmed to find her eyes are shining with tears. How can you pledge your allegiance to me when you don't even know who I really am? I do not even know who I am. I don't know how I found my way in this forest, and many of my memories are hazy. I can recall my past in perfect detail, but I have no way of knowing if that really is my past. I thought I was Leofi, but that might be a lie. And I'm telling you, I don't care if it's a lie or not. Even if you're not the person you think you are, you're still a good person. You put yourself in harm's way so you can protect me. That's not something a wicked woman would do. It doesn't matter to me whether you're Leofi or not. I care about you all the same, and that won't change. Marnie, Leofi looks at me, her lower lip trembling before. You really are so good to me. With a soft cry, Leofi brushes her head against my cheek, against my chest. She's taller than me, and she has to stoop her shoulders, her body quivering. She feels so fragile, I'm afraid she'll fall apart at my fingers. I'm a little worried, but I think I'm strong enough to support her. She's protected me numerous times now. It's my turn to protect her. It's alright. I'm still here. You can cry all you want. But it's... it's embarrassing. Okay. I decided to come at night, so I can't cry. I shed all my tears after my mother died. I told myself I was going to become so strong nothing could bring me to tears ever again. I wanted to be a knight, and knights don't cry. They smile brilliantly like sun, and they protect those who are weaker than them. I never wanted anybody to call me a sad, stupid girl ever again. I wanted to be a hero. I thought that's what I wanted at least, but what if that's all a lie? I don't think it's a lie. You said it's sincere enough to me, but there's a flaw with your thinking. A flaw? Leofi sniffles, abashed and blinks at me through teary eyes. What flaw? Even heroes can cry. That doesn't make you weak. In fact, nowadays, people think being honest about your feelings can make you stronger. My mom's a therapist, so she delivers corny lines like this all the time. I used to roll my eyes whenever she'd tell me to practice wellness or self-acceptance, but now I think I finally understand what she meant. Like Leofi, I was desperate to hide my real emotions. I didn't want to be weak. I shielded myself away from... I shielded away from people and flinched beneath their wandering fingers. Can I touch your hair? You're so cute, just like a doll. I've never seen anybody so tiny before. It made me feel like less than human. I was a curiosity to them, almost like a small fluffy animal in a petting zoo. I tried to mask my feelings of inadequacy by wearing black and scowling, just as Leofi tried to hide her own anxieties behind her dream of being a knight. But facades aren't always enough to get us through life. Now that sounds pretty fancy. I guess even I can say smart stuff from time to time. Sometimes we need to acknowledge our own weakness. If we keep pretending they don't exist, they'll prey on us all the more. Then they'll swallow us. Edmund was so obsessed with his sadness, he lost sight of who he really was. But that won't happen to you. You're not alone. You have me. Oh, Marnie. You always seem to know the right things to say. Luffy smiles a wan, watery smile. Her cheeks flush from tears. Is it because you went to school and I didn't? Nah, I've never been very good grades at school. I'm not very smart. School report Miss Gillespie wrote about me was a downright character assassination. You'd think, based on her scathing comment, that was a nefarious serial killer, not a lazy girl who sometimes spent her lessons gossiping with Helena. But I want to be here for you, at least. You're way more important than maths or English lessons. I don't know what a math lesson is, but it sounds rather complex. It is. Mr. Parshers doesn't make it any easier either. I can't stand trigonometry, and the FOIL method is the absolute worst. My head is starting to spin already. These long words and foreign concepts are a lot to take in for a simple girl like me, but it has helped ease my worries somewhat. Luffy giggles. Really though, I must thank you for comforting me so. I do wish you hadn't seen such a side of my character though. I vowed to be your knights, I want to protect you, but now you are the one protecting me.
It's no biggie. You're not just my knight, you're also my friend, and, well, I glanced to one side shyly, my face flushing pink beneath the layers of white foundation. We're good girlfriends, too, I guess.
That is correct. Girlfriends are another modern concept I don't quite understand. Like this trigonometry you mentioned, but I would like to understand it. I want to understand everything about this era. I want to stay with you and experience all the world has to offer.
Luffy draws in a deep breath, extending herself and then wipes her damp cheeks with the back of her arm. She smells bravely, backlit by the warm sun. In this moment, she looks every bit the brave and valiant knight I saw in the stained glass window in Fen Chapel Church. But before I can enjoy my new lease of life, I need to learn who I really am. Am I Leofi, or am I somebody else? Right now, I am unsure, but I think if we venture even further into the forest, the answer will reveal themselves in due course. I was afraid at first, but I think I'm ready to accept the truth now. No matter what it is, I know that you are with me. I should be able to bear it. Thank you for being with me, Marnie. You have supported me from the very moment we met. And I really do love you. Do you think it's getting kind of dark? Indeed, it seems the night has fallen rather too early. We've been boarding this forest for a while, but I doubt we have been walking for that long. Luffy glances around her surroundings skeptically, as do I. The sky above our heads is now dark. Velveteen blue sprinkled here and there with stars. The moon itself is obscured behind ropes of mist, but I'm sure it'll be around in full like a saucer of milk. Time is fast running out. We only have so long before we can get to the bottom of this convoluted mess, but nothing seems to be going right. The time isn't working as it should. It's going by way too quickly. Check my phones. Gotta be something on the news about this. As my mobile out of my pocket, the screen is dark and impervious, revealing no secrets. Turn it on, but... Huh? Nothing happens. My fingers on the on button a little longer, while in the back screen to burst to life with this familiar Samsung jingle. There's nothing. My girl got an Android. I love that for her. It's completely unresponsive. That's weird. Did it die? But I charged it before we went out. The hell's going on? I check my phone as though the might jolt it back to life. Of course it doesn't. My mobile remains unresponsive, without any power. It's nothing more than a black, enigmatic, very expensive paperweight. Since I don't have a watch, I'm not in the business of carrying a clock around, and I'm not in the business of carrying a clock around with me. I have no way of checking the real time. Boo, L ratio. This is why I carry. This is why I wear a watch literally everywhere I go. I've been left in the dark, quite literally. Maybe sunny back in Fen Chapel, bright blue sky studded here and there with whipped cream clouds. But here, deep within the forest, time doesn't work like it should. It pauses and judders like an old record, skipping here and stuttering there, sometimes cutting out hundreds of years or hanging into a single second. Stupid piece of junk. I stuff my phone back into my pocket and then kick at a nearby tree root with the tip of my boot. But you said you were wearing trainers earlier. Make up your mind, Leo. Make up your mind, Marnie. That doesn't make me feel any better. In fact, it actually makes me feel worse. If it's killing me. Son of a...
Tut tut. Foul language won't get us anywhere.
I know that, but this is totally screwed up. You can hear devilish whispers hovering in the cool air like cobwebs. Each word is sharp and pointed and they make me shiver.
Oh dear. The poor girlies are completely lost now. Where can they go, I wonder? What will they do? Not even we know.
Not that it is any of our business.
They should have given up when they had the chance. The moon is still hidden behind the fog. It's not too late to run. Turn back. Watching them squirm is so much fun. No human has ventured this far and lived to tell the tale.
Oh, go screw yourselves. I may not be able to see the voices, but I can sure as hell tell them where to get off. It's pissed me off, that chorus of invisible voices. Callous, so catty, so obnoxiously human despite their supposed mythical status. It reminded me of Lenoa Davis's crew back in John Whitman's Whispering in the Cafeteria. Heads bent, shooting sneery looks at us. Those have deemed members of the losing brigade. As a golden member of the losers brigade myself, I'm used to being stared at from afar, and let me tell you, it kinda sucks. The invisible voices shush themselves into their existence as my angry cry, though I can hear a few residual giggles here and there. Luffy frowns.
Did you need to be so rude, Marnie?
I didn't need to, no, but it made me feel better.
I cannot condone that. It isn't very ladylike behavior.
And you don't know about being a lady, don't you? Miss, I wanna be a knight.
Well, point taken.
He smiles bashfully.
Then I shan't say anything more about your conduct. I wouldn't want to be a hypocrite.
My conduct is the least of our worries here. It shouldn't be this dark at this hour. I don't know the exact time, thanks for dying me phone, but I doubt it can be more than 2 or 3 o'clock. It's the middle of the summer and the sun shouldn't set for at least 6 hours. Will my phone just work? I don't get it.
It is quite the curious conundrum, yes. Maybe there's too much magical energy in the air.
I beg your pardon?
Your phone, as you call it, it's a relatively modern invention. I understand its inner workings, but it must be a very complicated talisman. This forest, however, rejects things like logic and reason. As there is so much magic here, it stands to reason items from the Age of Enlightenment would not work. We've entered the realm of fantasy now. Anything is possible.
Anything, huh? I don't know if that fills me with much confidence. If we get trapped here for too long, Gran will definitely freak out.
That's why we should hurry to accomplish our goal. I don't know what lurks within the woods, but I feel that we are fast approaching our destination. If only that irritating witch would appear now, to let us know that we are on the right track.
But of course,
she would not do that.
That'd be way too helpful.
Well, quiet. Well, quite. Now, shall we go, my
Luffy stops herself, her cheeks tinging pink.
Well, after all we've been through, I suppose I can drop this form of address. It'd be far more appropriate to use your first name, so let me see. Shall we get going, dear Marnie?
Sure, let's go. I find Luffy's hand with my own. My fingers are trembling, but Luffy holds me tightly. Oh. I love it. Well, shout out to lesbians. I'm horribly biased, but shout out to lesbians. I know she won't let go no matter what happens. I feel safe when I'm with her. We might be lost like Hansel and Gretel from the fairy tale, but though they were just small children, they were able to outwit the wicked witch, though the power of teamwork. We don't have a trail of breadcrumbs, or in this case, a phone signal. But it doesn't matter. We only need each other. We walk through the trees in relative silence, our hands clasped for the air. The air's cool. My palms soon starts to get sweaty. Still, I don't pull away. I'm afraid if I relinquish my grip on Luffy's hand, she'll disappear just like a phantom. As we walk, the stars grow more numerous above our heads. Twigs snap underfoot, strange birds twitter amongst the branches, and fog begins to roll along the ground. The fog gets denser and denser with each footstep. It worms its way beneath the hem of my skirt, the back of my shirt, pressing my bare shoulder blades so I shudder. Soon the fog is so thick I can scarcely see a foot in front of my face. Now, what will we do? If it comes to a halt, her fingers still grasping mine, as her eyes attempt to penetrate the misty veil about us. The Trees emerge from the fog like Romero zombies, their branches waving in the breeze like rotten limbs. Something indescribably eerie about this scene. I cannot help but share Leofi's sentiment. What will we do now? Where can we go? I was about to suggest we toss a coin, but that'd probably help us decide where to turn when I pause. I can hear something. Sounds just like footsteps.
What was that? Who's there?
I don't know. The footsteps are slow and shambling, almost like my grandma's, but there's no way she could be out here in the dark. Not this far into the forest. What does those obnoxious fairies say about before I chase them off? Is it something like, no human has ventured this far and then to live to tell the tale? What does that mean? It's a ridiculous thing to think, but no shortage of ridiculous things have happened to me over the last few days, and now I'm ready to believe anything. No humans who have wandered this far into the woods have survived, then the people in this forest, they must be dead already.
What? No, it can't be. It cannot be. That would be in poor taste, even for a witch. The dead should be allowed to rest in peace.
But despite Leofi's protest, the footsteps grow louder and even more numerous. A gust of wind blows through the trees. The fog parts like a stage curtain, and then,
oh no!
they're finally made visible to us. Oh shit! Let's go. A small contingents of stumbling knights are moving through the fog. Maybe they were human once, but they're not any longer. They have no eyelids, so they can't blink. They have no flesh, so they can't feel. They have no eyes, so they can't see. But their gaping sockets seem to be staring at me regardless. They're staring right through me. These knights are nothing more than mindless monsters, devoid of humanity. They should be long dead, but they've rejected their graves. They're animated only by black magic and a thirst for revenge. Skeletons are like Edmund, but they've been stripped of their names, their memories, and their sense of selfhood. These are the knights we've read about in that book. They must be. Luffy summons his sword from the air.
They must have challenged the dragon in the forest, and they failed. They lost their lives and their remains were scattered about this forest. They died a long, long time ago, but I cannot say for how long they've been wandering these woods. But I had to put them to rest. As a knight, that is my duty.
Luffy points her blade at the encroaching foes. The sharp point glimmers in the moonlight, promising pain, but they aren't enough. This isn't enough to deter them. I don't think they understand the danger Leofi's blade poses. Their heads are completely empty, scooped clean of any intelligent thought. All they can do is move and fight and kill like machines. These knights have all fallen once before. They've lost everything. But Leofi is still alive. She has beliefs and dreams and hopes for the future, and that's why she will win. I've seen enough zombie movies to know that the living will always triumph over the dead.
Fucking jinx it, Marnie. I'm sorry, but there is nothing I can offer you. Killing me will not reverse the cruel fates you have suffered. You can try to best me, but I will not let you succeed. I'll return you to the dirt once more, so you can finally sleep.
So saying, Leofi dashes forward, sword in hand. Skeletal warriors lurch forward to parry her blows, but they're too sluggish. They can't see with their staring sockets, and Leofi dispatches them easily. She deflects wild swings, their sword fending off 1, 2, 3 attackers all at once. To Leofi's child's play, she doesn't even break a sweat. She disarms one skeletal warrior, then plunges her sword through its skull. Her blade shreds. Her blade shears through the socket and pierces the other side, like puncturing a juice carton with a straw. Skeleton lurches back, disorientated, and collapses into a heap. Yet another monster reaches out for Leofi, her fingers grasping, but it's fruitless. Leofi sidesteps him all elegantly and returns, and running through yet another foe of her trusty blade. The river presides all over this macabre ballad. A cold, impartial kind of judge with ever watchful eyes. Fog swirls around Leofi but doesn't slow her down. seems to wear the mist almost like a cape, dancing through it, fairy-like, as she fells yet another foe and another. One skeleton, both arms lost in the skirmish, tries to tackle Leofi from behind. She dodges and clashes against the floor, ribs breaking, cracking, and splintering from the impact. Doesn't pull itself up again. These silent warriors, stripped of the ability to speak, continue to fight and fall. The fight is soundless, save for the clashing of Leofi's blade. She doesn't speak, but I doubt she has very much to say. Even if she did, these skeletons would be able to listen to her. She could threaten them, forgive them, or even try to appeal to them, but they wouldn't be able to understand her. They're not humans. Maybe they were once, but not anymore. Now they're nothing more than puppets. Soon the last skeletal knight falls. Luffy swipes its skull clean off its bony neck, one blow. With the broken skull and the headless body fall to the floor, sightless, eyes landing upon the dirt. Luffy stands there, sword in hand, her eyes narrowed. She glances about, searching for yet more foes. But the forest remains quiet. It's too quiet, in fact. Out with bated breath, hardly daring to breathe, the ground seems to shudder beneath my feet. It's one final fight left, which will mark an end to the incredible, fantastical night. Fallen warriors, stripped flesh from their bones, morals from their mind, didn't die in vain. There was an opponent they all wished to fell, either for the money, or the fame, or their fervent desires of fulfilling a good deed before they died. Many people lost their lives to this monster, until one brave young knight was able to defeat it. The monster died, or so the story said. But during tonight's full moon it will be revived. It's here now, in this very forest, and it's been waiting for its revenge for hundreds of years. The beast that was immortalized in the stained glass window of Fenchapel Church has finally shown itself. There's no way a creature like this could exist in the modern era, but... So here you are. How nice of you to finally arrive. I killed you once, yet it seems the first taste you had of my blade will not enough to sate you. Very well then. I defeated you once and I'll do so again. My name is Leofi, daughter of Algar, and I will not bend before you. I'm not afraid of you, you veiled dragon. A low roar rumbles through the forest. The very trees themselves seem to shiver all the way down to their roots. Oh shit, it's an actual dragon! I thought it was a metaphor, it was gonna be that witch lady. Oh no, that's just a fucking dragon, okay. Then out of the fog, there emerges the head, then the neck, then the muscular, scaly body of a large, evil-eyed dragon. The dragon looked at Leofi and I for a few moments, motionless, its narrow eyes, its claws scraping against the earth. When it exhales, I can feel its cool breath against my face. It smells not of brimstone as I initially expected, something even more fearsome, death and decay. How many people has this dragon snapped up for its razor-sharp jaws? I have no idea. But it's apparent as the seconds tick by, this monster has marked its prey. The dragon's nostrils dilate as tail twitches, then, with a roar loud enough to shake the trees to their very roots, it lumbers forth. Marty, stand back. Luffy pushes me to one side, her face set in determination, and holds her sword aloft. The dragon swipes at Leofi with its claws, but she dances around them. Her sword hits the underside of the colossal creature, but the blade does little damage. Instead, it glances off the dragon's scales. Ugh. Luffy jumps back before the dragon can slash her stomach open with his claws. You are stronger than my brother, I will grant you that. But I will not back down so easily. I am a knight regardless of my appearance, and I will never be reduced to a mere plaything. I have more pride than that. Dragon swipes at Leofi again, she avoids his claws. Dragon howls in rage and aims at her once more, but his claws, instead of catching Leofi, shear for the trunk of a nearby tree. Luffy ducks, dodging the stray splinters ricocheting through the night air. The tree might have been reduced to firewood, some of these splinters are pretty large. They could pierce Leofi through, impaling her heart and lungs in one fell blow. But Leofi blows these bits of wood back from the flat of her blade, almost like she's playing rounders. I can see nightmare visions of Leofi's body being pierced, ragdoll-like by losing bits of shrapnel. By lose bits of shrapnel, will bloody bubbles form blood bubbles forth from her lips. But I don't know what to think about that. I have faith in her. I'm sure she'll triumph no matter the odds after all. Head down, Marnie, she says as she said she would protect me. So don't fucking jinx it, girl. Luffy skirts over to my side, deflecting the rain of twigs and branches, and pushes me behind the trunk of a nearby tree. The dragon roars, eyes narrowed and slashed out of its sharp claws. It catches yet another tree, and the old trunk explodes like firework. Splinters of the destroyed oak tree fly through the air. Some of these splinters pierce through the ground where I was once standing. If Luffy hadn't pushed me out of the way, I'd have been skewered. Oh god. I shiver, my legs are turning to jelly. It's all I can do is remain up. It's all I can do to remain upright. Leofi, you saved me. Of course I did. I am your knight after all, and your girlfriend besides. I would save you over and over, no matter how many times it takes. You say that, but this is the dragon. I don't know if you can beat it. It's so strong. It's huge too. Now. Luffy smells a spot of dirt on her cheek and taps the tip of her nose with her finger. Have some faith in me, please. But nothing. It is far too late to come back now. If we run, the dragon will chase us down. We shall be killed. But I will not let that happen. Slaying dragons is fairly standard for a knight in shining armor. If I let this monster get the better of me, I'll no longer have the right to be a knight. Ergo, I have to defeat it. I slay this beast, and I shall prove that I really am Leofi. I've defeated this monster once before, and I won't hesitate to do it again. The dragon's tail swishes as another tree is caught by the scoop of its tail, and it falls to the ground with a loud thud. The earth trembles. I struggle to keep my balance. The world itself seems to be pivoting on its axis. This dragon is incredibly powerful. But that could be a weakness too. The dragon's colossal body is hemmed in somewhat by trees, and is difficulty navigating through the fog. It might be large, it's easily big enough to swallow Leofi at one gulp, but its sheer size is a disadvantage. Luffy dances around the dragon nimbly, sidestepping all its blows and lunging forth. So I'm begging you, please get a second image of Leofi holding her swords. She stabs and thrusts again and again, but his skills deflect each of her strikes. You Cretaceous oversized lizard, why won't you succumb to my blade? Luffy carves the dragon's lumbering legs over and over, but she isn't dealing any damage. She's putting herself in danger. If only my Maponos was with me, a noble steed would be a godsend at a time like this. Luffy glances up at the sky. The full moon hovers over our heads, as though suspended by a string. It's so round and perfectly full, it looks like a crystal ball, or maybe an eye. Feels like it's watching over us. But it's cold, callous. It's a cold, callous observer. Doesn't care one whit about us. If Leofi's to defeat the dragon, she can only rely on herself. Well, maybe asking for divine intervention was too much. My father Rose told me that the lords help those who help themselves. I need to do the best with whatever I have to hand. Think, Leofi, think. Luffy glances about the forest, her eyes narrowed as she searches for a potential course of action. How can she defeat a monster that towers several feet higher than she does? It's a classic David and Goliath situation, but unlike David, she can't rely on God. This forest is sealed away from reality and religion and all common sense. It's a place where fairies lurk among the treetops, whispering riddles, and skeletal warriors can emerge from fog to settle centuries-old debts. In a bizarre upside down world like this, all Leofi can rely on is her own ingenuity. Then, if attack like this are no good, that might work. I just need to approach it from a different angle. Needs more height. The dragon's thrashing tail fells another tree. The once mighty oak is severed at the base, as though by a guillotine. Luffy watches as the tree falls down slowly, inevitably, to the uneven ground. She jumps, pushing off against the dirt, and lands upon the falling tree. She scales the trunk, running as hard as she can, pushing her muscles to the limit. She grips her sword tightly in her hands, her eyes flashing. I think I know what she's meant. I don't think I know what she means to do. It's an incredibly reckless attack, one may call it suicidal, but in these circumstances, what choices does she have? Alright, you oversized lizard, try and deflect this! Luffy cries out, her voice echoing about the forest as she jumps. She trusts her body to the air, her hair streaming behind as she falls. Just a good 20 feet in the air. It's a long way down. It's a long way to fall, but she has something to break it. The dragon. She lands nimbly upon its back, sword in hand, and rams the pointed blade of her weapon deep into the base of its neck. At least that's what Leofi plans, but the scales about the monster's neck are just as sturdy as the words around its legs. Luffy grits her teeth together, and her face, deathly pale, she tries to skewer the dragon like a kebab, but it's still no good. The dragon's hide is too strong, her sword can't reach its defenses. The dragon roars and tips its head back. It rears back, shaking itself to and fro in a frenzied attempt to shake Leofi off it. Luffy tries to cling on, her teeth gritted, eyes narrowed. She takes her sword to the dragon's shoulder blade, taking advantage of a small breach in the dragon's scales, but this only serves to enrage the beast further. Leofi! I call after Leofi, but my voice can't possibly reach her. She's lost amongst the hectic frill of the battle. Not that this truly counts. Luffy isn't hurting the dragon, she's struggling simply to stay alive. Luffy tries to maintain her balance, fingers wrapped tightly around her blade, but the dragon has other ideas. If such a large, seemingly single-minded beast can think of ideas beyond brutal murder. The dragon begins to flap its large leathery wings. Gusts of wind billows through the forest. Leaves are torn from trees, and loose sticks and clods of dirt are whipped up about my ankles. Sheer force of the air velocity pushes me back. I try to dig the heels of my shoes into the dirt, but it's no good. I pull my palm out trying to steady myself, but when I gasp, pain as the gnarled roots pierces my skin. I'm bleeding. That hardly seems to matter right now. The dragon is ascending into the cool night air, Luffy still perched curiously upon its back. The dragon looms over the top of the tree, so large it blocks out the light of the Milky Moon. This really does look unreal. Like a scene from a fantasy movie or maybe the front cover of a heavy metal album. I know the skeleton warriors were unnerving. The dragon hangs in the air high above my head. Its wicked bat-like wings flutter back and forth, suspending it into the night sky. Then it lets out a fearsome roar, starting to move. The dragon arcs for the air, dipping and twisting and spinning as Luffy struggles to remain on its back. She can't hold on much longer. Luffy's grip on her sword slackens. I can't see her face, I can barely hear her voice, but I'm sure she's screaming, shouting, slipping. She's... Luffy! Falling. Luffy plummets from the dragon's mighty body, her hands reach out desperately, trying to grasp her sword once more, but she's too late. She's shooting for the night sky like a meteor. My head clenches inside my chest. My heart clenches inside my chest. I need to save her, and fast before she lands breaks her neck. Luffy! All of a sudden, I don't care what the dragon is. The dragon is as tall as a department store, that it could crush me beneath his 1 foot V's. I just want to save her. I told Luffy I'd protect her, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Luffy, hold on. I'm just a weak teenage girl who hates running. I always try to get out of PE whenever possible, which to Miss Whitman's disgust. I'm no sprinter. I can't hack marathons. When I come to the high jump, my short legs are woeful disadvantage. I have no endurance at all and physical strength, you can forget it. I'm incredibly weak. But none of that matters now. I can't focus on my own shortcomings. I need to save Leofi no matter the cost. Luffy may be a knight, but she's not invulnerable. She bleeds red just like me, and her bones are just as fragile. She'll break. She'll hit the ground, and no matter how hard I try to catch her, I know I won't do any good. She's falling too quickly. I can try to catch her, but it'll be in vain. I'll be crushed. It's not possible. But then again, dragons aren't either. This night has been one string of crazy, impossible events after another, and that makes it a little easier to believe that things will work out. I just need to have faith. I'm an ordinary girl with an ordinary life, but I've been embroiled in something quite extraordinary. I need to become extraordinary too if I'm to rise to this challenge, and I will. I want to help Leofi. I care about her. And I love her. And the moment this thought crosses my mind... Ah! Ground's head exudes a strange light, even brighter than that of the moon which hangs above our heads. Time slows to a crawl. See Leofi falling, and I reach out her arm, arms outstretched, mouth wide. I can rescue her. I know I can. Her body's been imbued with some strange arcane magic. The world around me is muting. This forest isn't as it was before. Dragon isn't what I thought it was either. Grant said this nexus would protect me from harm. I keep hold of it to humor her, but I figured it was one of the many symptoms for advanced age. I thought she'd gone loopy, but she was right about the fairies. Why wouldn't she be right about this? Magic exists within the forest. And it exists within the necklace Grant gave me. It's magic that will protect me no matter what. And with it, I can protect Leofi too. I reach out, plucking Leofi from the air like an apple from a tree, and press her body against my chest before she can hit the ground. There's no bruised skin, no broken bones, no bleeding, no wounds, no hurt, no pain. It's just her and I, my arms around her and her around mine. I hold her trembling body close, as one might reassure a child after a particularly bad nightmare. She winds her arms around me, her shoulders shaking. Marnie. Oh, Marnie. I could see my whole life flashing before my eyes. I was afraid I was really going to die. It's alright. You don't need to be scared. I'm with you. But I thought... I was afraid I was going to die and then nobody would be able to protect you. I was terrified of failing my mission. No, of failing you. I would hate for you to be hurt because of my own stupidity. I examine Leofi, frowning. She looks rather worse for wear. Her hair is badly rumpled and her eyes are frenzied. But her face is pasty white like a ghost's. She came very close to dying a few moments ago. But I stopped that. I saved her, and I did my best to help her, but... You were worried about me? Of course I was. You mean the world to me. So while you were falling to your death, you cared about my fate more than yours? When you're afraid of being squashed by like a pancake? What's a pancake? It doesn't matter. What a pancake is? I don't matter what a pancake is. Do you think your priorities all messed up? Well, I have never been overly concerned with my own safety. That's why my father and my brother worried about me so much. They thought I was foolish, and maybe I am, but how else could I become a knight? I thought too much about myself. I never would have been able to pick up a sword and go into battle. You really are selfless to a fault. Am I truly selfless, though? I told myself I wanted to help others for the sake of it, but my actions were more self-serving than that. I wanted to feel like I deserved to be a knight. Despite all the naysaying, I wanted to prove everybody wrong. That's why I rode out on dangerous quests, though nobody told me it was crazy. But everybody told me it was crazy. Just a moment. Anyway, where was I? They were right too. Maybe you were, but you held true to your own ideals and you never gave up. That's why I care about you so, and that's why I want to help you. I might be an average teenager with a below average score with the high jump, but this forest is a normal place. The rest of the trees themselves are imbued with magic. And when I'm here, even I can make the impossible possible. Oh, Marnie. I really am glad I met you. And I you. Sophie smiles at me fondly. She traces my cheek gently with her knuckle and my whole body shivers. I wish I could continue to hold her. That would let me know beyond the shadow of a doubt this is really real and Leofi isn't dead. But I can't. We still need to worry about the dragon. At least that's what I thought, but... My, what a touching scene.
two lovers were able to overcome the challenges presented to them, and they lived happily ever after. Fairy tales are supposed to go something like that, aren't they? A cool, icy laugh creeps down my spine. I see this speaker, but I know who it is. The voice that, low and mocking, could only belong to one person. Lynette, is that you? Show yourself, you vile witch! I don't particularly like answering to vile witch. It is incredibly rude to address one by an insult rather than their own name. But I suppose this is as much courtesy as I could expect from a girl who would rather be a knight than a real person. What do you mean by that? I am a real person, I am undisputably real. Now where are you hiding? What are you trying to say? And Luffy pauses. She glances around, eyes a little too wide. What happened to the dragon? What happened to the dragon indeed? It should be rather obvious. But you were never the sharpest spearhead in the armory. Hello, Twitch did not give me the damn notification for the stream. Boo. What doesn't help is, that bot I had in my server stopped working ages ago. So nobody knows what I fucking stream anymore. It'll be fair, it is the same time every week. Anyway. You're still confused. Perhaps I can spell it out for you, my dear. Then it appears beyond the brow of the nearby tree. One leg folded over the other. Folded over the other. Over. She wears her favorite black robes, and her long hair falls over her shoulder in waves. Her hood is up as per usual, obscuring her face. I can't see her eyes or her nose, but her mouth remains visible, her lips curved into a truly chilling manner. I am the beast that you fought against so ardently. I fucking knew it. I'm just gonna have her show up and then not do anything. I am the dragon that lurks within these woods, and I have killed untold scores of young men all over the years. No, that cannot be. But it is. I remember it well. But my memory is not nearly as poor as yours, my dear Leofi. The men who tried to stand against me were all so young, so bold, so brave. They were determined to prove themselves. They wanted to impress their beloved, or rescue others, or taste glory. But they all tasted but all they tasted in the end was the gall of defeat. None were able to defeat me. It was quite difficult to peer. My ferocity knew no bounds, and I could cut down the elderly, women, or children without hesitation. It was different when I faced her, though. It was always different with her. I have no idea what it is you speak of. You were talking in riddles. I thought you said when I met you earlier, that you do not wish to hurt us. You claimed you have no desire to cause us harm. I don't. That much still holds true. Though I tried to kill you not 5 minutes hence. You must understand, I was not quite in my right frame of mind. My body warped and twisted during the full moon. I became a horrendous dragon in the likes of you. which you could find in any fairy story. I cannot control my bloodlust during this time, but when I wake the following morn as a human woman, I remember all the atrocities I created. My hands are stained with blood, but I never wished to take any lives. I was cursed, and it is a cross I have borne for centuries. Right, so you're the dragon. I mean, at this point, why not? Nothing in this farce is quite what it seems. Maybe I'll turn into a vampire for good measure. It'd be preferable to being a short, dainty human girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. It's a free-for-all. But if you are cursed, how did you turn back into a human? I was unable to best you. It makes no sense at all. Now that can be explained quite simply. The curse was lifted, albeit momentarily, by the talisman your little friend carries. The trinket in her pockets may seem like a piece of bric-a-brac, but it contains within it high concentration of magical power. It was enough to save you during your fall. It was even able to revert the curse placed upon me, while the full moon remains high in the sky. I know not where that necklace came from, but I knew it would be powerful when I first sensed it. I hoped it would be enough to sever the curse that binds me. And hoped it would be enough to finally open your blinded eyes to the truth. What truth? What are you talking about? So you still have not realized after all that Edmund told you? How sad. Lynette tuts. You really are dense. How could you not have figured it out yet? It is enough to make me cry. But I suppose I can always give you another hint. Do you recognize me now? Lynette jumps down from the trees, where she lands nimbly like a cat, her hood falling from her face during the descent. Fabric bunches back to reveal the features she had for so long. Finally, I'm face to face with the witch. When my eyes meet hers, I find myself gasping. Though her hair and eyes are different, her features are remarkably similar to Leofi's. Everything about them, from the shape of their nostrils to the curve of their lips, are almost identical. What is this? Leofi draws back, aghast. Why do we have the same face? Why do you have my face? It's must be some kind of trick. Ah, yes, I thought you might say that. That's why I went to the courtesy of hiding my real face for you. I rather wanted to avoid this tedious confrontation. I'd little hope you'd remember yourself when given due time, but I forgot how very stubborn you are. You have always been a handful. I have no idea what you're talking about. I do not know you at all. Stop trying to trick me. Oh, please. As if I would try to trick you. If I truly wished to cause you harm, I could have eaten you while I was under the influence of that awful enchantment. But I was able to hold myself back. I'd never want to hurt you, even if you are to blame for all this. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. You may not remember it. Perhaps once you can say you conveniently forgot, but you're the one who distorted this forest with your magic on that fateful day all these years ago. No, this can't be true. Yes, it is, and we have all been paying the price for it. This is all your fault, Elizabeth. My little sister. Your sister? No. Leofi, or is it Elizabeth? Take another step back, her eyes a little too wide for her face. I'm not... I cannot be. I am... Leofi, aren't I? That's what you seem to believe, but you've been asleep for a very, very long time. Your mind must be muddled, my dear sister. But don't worry. I will tell you everything, whether you want to hear it or not. Let's go, Lord Dom. You can't keep dancing around this issue any longer. You really are my sister. You are the cause of all this chaos, and it is time you took responsibility for your actions. Let's go, Lord Dump. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, myths and legends ran rampant across England. People believed that shape-shifting monsters really did prowl the forest, and stories of King Arthur were widely circulated. These tumultuous times, magic thronged the air and fairies were a simple matter of course. That was the one of the few things the residents of our small island could agree on. During this era, the country was split into numerous kingdoms, all vying for power. In the north, there was Bernicia and Duria. In the south, Wessex, Sussex, and Kent. Fucking Sussex. One of the larger kingdoms was America, which was situated in the centre of England. This kingdom was ruled by King Cernunnos, and later Cynahelm, who was canonized as a saint. Cynahelm ascended the throne when he was but a young boy, and he oft had prophetic dreams. One such dreamed of his imminent death. The following day, during a hunt in the forest with his power-hungry relatives, his head was severed from his shoulders by his sister's love, Ascobert. Why are we getting this fucking history lesson? Tangled lives of America's many rulers has little to do with our tale. However, we needn't concern ourselves with disgraced or disposed royalty, for the present at least. The story begins with a significantly more mundane list of dramatic persona.
Sony. At Mercia, the border of near the border of Angela, there was a peasant family. The fuck was that? They were a normal family who lived in a small, humble home in a forest, in a small, humble settlement. The family was comprised of a mother, a father, and 2 daughters. They loved one another dearly. This family were not as ordinary as they appeared, however. The mother, you see, and her 2 daughters after her had been blessed by the fairies, and they could see and do things other humans could not. This family earned their coins by selling herbs and potions to the weary travelers, and in doing so, they were able to make a decent living. They did not earn so very much they could eat rabbit or venison on the regular, but they could buy food regardless and fix the holes in their thatched roof. Time trickled by, and this family were happy and well content with one another. Their lives were not glamorous by any means, but they were surviving, which is more than could be said for some. That is, at least until a deposed prince of St. Angela heard about this intriguing family. This prince had been quite overlooked by his father, and would never ascend to the throne, despite, or perhaps because of his vaulted ambition. He had been written out of his father's will entirely, and his younger brother, not he, and it was his younger brother, not he, who became the East Angela's next ruler. The prince could not stand this slight against his honor, and so, in an act of rebellion, he traveled the land, searching for somebody who could help him reclaim what he thought was his birthright. It did not take the prince all that long, for he heard rumors about the family of witches that lived in Mercia, and their beautiful daughters. According to local legend, these daughters were unnaturally powerful. The potions brewed by their slender hands could calm all raging fevers, prevent any manner of infections, and even reverse death. His girls could make plants grow even simply by singing to them. Their blood contained healing properties that could close up all wounds. They could see fairies and they could speak to them. They could speak to the animals that roamed the woods too. From the smallest birds to the grizzled, angry bears. Flowers bloomed when they walked, and they were forever cloaked in a faint, sweet fragrance like honey. These girls were witches, yes, that much was obvious. But these were white witches, pure and good, who devoted themselves wholeheartedly to helping others. The prince knew a bit of magic himself, but his powers were not strong enough to chance a coup. First, he needed support, and where better to find that than in the arms of a beautiful witch. The prince set out to meet this family, his demands heavy upon his lips. He wanted to marry the oldest daughter, who at the time was in her 18th year, and bring her back to his kingdom. Then the 2 of them would use their powers to overthrow his younger brother and forcibly take the throne. The disposed prince offered the family's precious jewels and gold, any number of beautiful clothes in exchange for the older sister's hand. The girl's parents hesitated. They loved their 2 daughters, did not wish to be. Yeah, hold on. Got sick, okay. They loved their 2 daughters and did not wish to be parted from them, nor did they trust the prince's ambitions. His schemes were far too lofty, and they feared his bloody rebellion would only result in the deaths of their eldest daughter. The littlest daughter too was skeptical. She found the prince a rude, boorish sort of man, and she would sooner have wed one of the wild wolves that roamed the forest than take his hand. At least British animals could be tamed by kind words and affectionate gestures. British men, on the other hand, they're an entirely different matter. Well, you can imagine how well this unanimous rejection went down with the prince. So enraged was he that
At being scorned by his social inferiors, he cast a curse upon the older sister, whose beauty had captured his heart. The curse her so that during the full moon, her visage would be transfigured into a hideous dragon. In her cursed form, she would be doomed to kill all those who stood in her path, consumed by the prince's own deluded hatred and anger. By the by, the prince himself was assassinated when he returned to his own kingdom of East England, of East Anglia. His youngest brother had quite wisely ascertained that the sibling was plotting against him, in order to nip the promise of the rebellion in the bud before it could bloom. The younger brother shed no tears over this, for he had never much cared for the company of his older sibling. Neither had anyone else. Can you imagine why? But I digress. Though the disposed prince's magic power was not particularly strong, his hatred reinforced his lackluster abilities. The curse held firm, no matter how the girl's frantic family tried to lift it. It was all quite useless. With no other choice, the mother and the father turned to the youngest daughter for help. Please, dear Elizabetta, they petitioned her. Though you are only young, we all need of your aid. Can you travel across Mercia to find an antidote that can free your sister of that prince's curse? The youngest sister was only 15 years old at the time. She was helplessly naive. She spent most of her life in her parents' home, brewing potions and picking mushrooms in the nearby forest. It was a quiet, sedentary kind of life, peaceful and quiet, without any promises of adventure. The girl was quickly tired of such an existence, but always longed to explore the outside world. Cruel though it was, she could not help but be somewhat pleased by her older sister's condition, for finally she had a chance to travel on her own. Freedom was now hers, and she intended to savor it. "All right, my dear mother and father," she said, for a picture of contrition. "I shall do my best to help my sister, and you shall stay here and watch over her, and I shall help her. You have my word." But the whole while the sister's heart was pounding, her palms were sweating, she could taste opportunity on her tongue. Finally, she would have her adventure and excitement, and maybe she would even be able to make a few friends. It would be just like the myths and legends her mother told her. This was the moment that her life would begin. And so the young girl set off the journey into the unknown. She travelled Mercia by foot, cloak draped over her shoulders to fend off the wintry wind, and as she searched for an antidote to lift her sister's curse. She knew she had to hurry, for the next full moon her sister would transform into a wicked dragon, and then she would put all those she loved in mortal peril. The girl travelled far and wide until her feet were rubbed red raw. She was unable to find an antidote to help her sister. She did, however, see a great many unusual sights, and none was more unusual than the tale I am to recount now. God, get on with it, this is a long-ass story. One day, when the sun was high, the girl spotted two knights sparring in the forest, their swords crossing with much clangor. Now this sight in and of itself was not very unusual. Hundreds of young men across Mercia wished to be a knight, no doubt inspired by the stories of King Arthur and his perilous courage and chivalry. Mercia was constantly at war with its neighbouring kingdoms, and the young men across the land wished to prove their mettle. They wanted to hone their skills with the bow and sword, so that they might fight the invaders from Deria or East Anglia or Wessex. But there was something rather unusual about one of the knights. They were not wearing a helmet, perhaps they could not afford one. Their body was concealed with not with shining armor, with a green tunic. Their fair hair was loose and it streamed behind them like a banner. It didn't take the wandering girl long to discover that this supposed knight was in fact a woman. The girl had never seen a woman wield a sword before, and she had not thought it possible. It seems like something from a story. Though the woman was fending off a foe taller than she did not falter, neither did she seem all that afraid. She continued to dance about her foe like a dust mote, flicking here and there until her foe was quite dazed. Though with a large clang, the woman's sword struck true and her foe was felled. It was a good match, dear brother, the woman said, sheathing her sword. I'm afraid it wasn't enough. Try as you might, you will never be able to best me. But Leofi, the man said, wincing as he drew his helmet from his head, do you not see what you are doing? You are worrying our poor father sick. Playing at being a knight like this, you don't even have a helmet, nor any real armor. You could always give me yours. You know I cannot. This is our great-grandfather's armor. This is our grandfather's armor. He wore it to do battle with the East Anglians. He was a plain warrior, but he still died on the battlefield. Do you mean, well, are only a woman? Did you not see how much danger you're putting yourself in? Maybe I am only a woman, Edmund, said Leofi archly. But I was able to defeat you, was I not? Yes, but then you needn't worry about me. I'll continue to fight, and you can stay at home and look after father. I shall protect our country in your stead. But you shouldn't be protecting anything. As a woman, you should be back at home, cooking and cleaning. Your place is by the hearth. Oh, my dear brother, Leofi said, smiling gently. You know that I have always been the better cook than I. You have always been a better cook than I. I can scarcely thread a needle. I am all fingers and thumbs, really. I'm not cut out for delicate things delicate things like that. And how can you stand to sing a sword about? That is different. Fail to see how. A woman can't thread a needle, has no business fighting. One day you will get killed. And one day, my dear brother, you will make yourself sick with worry. Do not fret so much. I shall be fine. But Leofi, and before I go, I think I will take Meponis with me. It will make my journey far simpler. Leofi made her way over to the white horse, who was tied up to a nearby tree stump. My defeated brother could only watch, nursing the wound in his chest with narrowed eyes. You do not know what you're doing, Leofi. Women should not fight. It is an affront to God. I think it would be more of a affront for me to remain at home, my head bowed, when I know the East Anglians are plotting to attack, and I know my services could be of some use. In tumultuous times such as this, we must all do what we can. I would rather protect my father from foes than poison him with my sorry attempt at cooking. You're being ridiculous. Please listen to reason. But Leofi did not listen. Patience had never been one of her strong points. Instead, she seated herself upon her brother's horse. Meponis had always liked her more anyway, and turned galloping off through the forest. Elizabeth thought of her encounter long after the sound of the horse's hooves faded into the distant memory. She thought of the strange girl as she made her way to the nearby inn. She thought of the girl as she ate her food, and she thought of the girl as she went to sleep at night. Now there was someone who was living life to its fullest. The night had been bold and bright, her smile even warmer than the sunshine. Her eyes had been blue enough to drown in, like twin lakes, and her hair was streaming golden corn. She had not just been brave, though it in itself had been enough to make Elizabeth's heart pound. She had been very beautiful too. If I could explore the land like that, unfettered, Elizabeth mumbled to herself as she tried and failed to succumb to sleep that night. Would I be able to smell like her? If only I did not have to return home, then... But Elizabeth didn't finish the thought, not aloud at least. She could not let herself ponder the possibility of not returning home. Her parents and older sister were relying on her. They needed to help her find a cure. They needed her to find a cure for her sister's enchantment, so her lives could go back to normal. Back to normal. That mean I could be picking mushrooms in the forest and grinding medicine from mortar and pestle until the day I die? Elizabeth was not particularly enthused about this idea. She wanted to explore Mercia most desperately when she was younger. Now she had a chance, she did not wish to return. Saying that night had filled her mind with thoughts and dreams even more numerous than the stars beyond the window in her decrepit inn. She looked like she was enjoying life regardless of what was said. Wish she could be like that too. But Elizabeth was sure she would never see the girl again. Mercia was a large kingdom, and the encounters had been nothing but a fluke. It would be most unlikely for her past to cross a second time. But the fates work in mysterious ways. It was not 1 week later the pair met anew. Elizabeth had searched the forest, looking for rare herbs and flowers that might be able to help her sister, when it happened. Two men approached her, natty cloaks pulled low over their faces.
Though she could not see their eyes, she saw their crooked smiles, a few missing teeth here and there, a faint smell of alcohol in their breath. What a lovely young girl. What are you doing out in the forest all by your own, little lass? Would you care to come with us? You have something nice and warm you can say, to rest your aching bones. Let's take care of you, why don't you? Elizabeth got to her feet, her teeth gritted, her fingers gripping about the hilt of her small knife she kept concealed in her pocket. She used the knife to cut the stems of the flowers and plants more neatly, so not to waste their precious sap, but it would be more than enough to slice the delicate skin of even grown men's throats. Though Elizabeth had led her sheltered life, she knew exactly what these men wanted. They were nothing more than crooks. They preyed upon innocent girls who did not know any better. They led the men of enticing promises of warmth and safety, and then they took advantage of them. These girls were sold into slavery or worse. Elizabeth had no desire to meet with such a fate. She still had to save her sister. Why is this story so fucking long? Get on with it. I feel like this could have been told a lot more succinctly. You're a quiet one, aren't you? One of the men crooned at her, grinning unpleasantly. I got your tongue? Come on, girlie, don't be shy, we won't hurt you. We just want to help you. What did you say, eh? Elizabeth sized her adversary up. They were taller than she was, but she was sure she could defeat them. She was rather skilled with a knife. She had cut many herbs in her time, and what's more, she knew magic. She knew the men would be able to best her if she set her cloak on fire. Set their cloaks on fire. She weighed up her options, waiting for the precise moment to strike. But Elizabeth, as it transpired, had never had to dirty her hands. A voice cried out, startling her and both the men. Enough, brigands! You leave this young maiden alone! It was a feminine voice which sounded distinctly familiar. On hearing it, Elizabeth found herself shaking. She turned, hardly daring to believe, and yet there she was, sitting astride a white horse. It was the night she'd been sparring in the forest 1 week prior. This night? So you know of me, Leofi said, a small smile on her face. I suppose I should be flattered, since my reputation precedes me. Hey, one of the men cried out at the interruption. What's a woman like you doing out here on a horse, no less? I was just passing by when I happened to see you two knaves threatening this poor woman. Now be away with you, unless you wish to taste my sword. Oh, with a sword, is it? Is it? Now that's rather novel. Some people might find it amusing, but I find it quite tedious. You should know your place. You wouldn't speak to a knight like that, Leofi archedly. I believe you're the ones who should know your place. But no matter. I can soon educate you. Elizabeth watched on, her eyes wide as Leofi dismounted from her horse and drew her sword. The two men, as it transpired, were armed with daggers, but they were no match for Leofi's blows. They looked down upon her as a mere woman. Their complacency was their downfall. Leofi dispatched both of them in under 30 seconds, and she did not even break a sweat. Well, that would hardly count as exercise, Leofi said, as the two scoundrels ran off through the trees. What a shame, but I suppose I cannot expect too much from brigands like that, my lady, she said now, turning to Elizabeth. Are you hurt? Elizabeth was not physically hurt, no, but her heart was pounding harder than she ever had before, and her cheeks were burning. For some reason, it was simply too hard to look into the knight's eyes, but Elizabeth knew she had to try. She had dreamed of seeing the knight again, and now her wildest dreams had been fulfilled. She could not let the moment pass. You could do this, Elizabeth, she told herself. Do not wet a blanket. Do not be a wet blanket now. Just talk to her. So Elizabeth opened her mouth and said hesitantly, "Oh, no, I'm quite alright, thank you." Well, if you're sure, Leofi said after a pause. Do you have anywhere to return to? Where is it you're going? About that, well, the thing is I don't rightly know. Do you not know where we're going? No, not entirely. At least, for you see, Elizabeth knew she should tell the knight about her mission, but she did not want to think of her family or their problems. She had been tied to them for her whole life, but now she had a chance to escape. Selfish though it may have been, she wanted to experience life for herself on her own terms. She wanted to live the way she wanted to live and learn what true happiness felt like. If she was the knight, Elizabeth was sure in a gloomy girl like her would be able to smile. And so she said after much deliberation, "Excuse me, brave knight, but I was wondering something."
What is it, my lady? The knight asked, smiling. She almost always smiled. Do you need help with something? I'd be more than happy to aid you. Well, it's just that as Luffy says, stumbling over words like a reluctant pony. Her cheeks turned pink and she stood there. She shook her head, then tried again. It is not. It's not I. It's not I who need your help, but I was wondering if you needed me. Oh, and why should you say that? Are you offering me your services? That's right. You helped me once, so what is my right to return the favor? I'm not bad at healing. Luffy confessed shyly. She could not help but be shy. This was her first time, you understand, talking to a girl close to her age, save for her sister. I know a bit about herbs too. If you ever find yourself in danger, you can rely on me, I promise. This entire story could have been summed up in like 2 pages. Why are we going for this whole fucking thing? So wish to accompany me on my journey? I do, Elizabeth said, nodding her head. I do indeed. I want that more than anything. But why would a nice girl like you wish to accompany me? I'm impulsive and impetuous. I always run headlong into danger. I would not want to put you in harm's way. Although you would not be harming me, Elizabeth said, her face alight with possibilities. I want to journey with you because I've never had the chance to travel before. I want to see some of the world that surrounds me. I was frightened on my own, but if I could be with you, I think I would be able to grow to appreciate life a little more. Elizabeth knew deep down that she was making a poor decision. How the parents had sent her off into the Mercia so she could help her sister. But after meeting Leofi, Lynette was the last thing on her mind. Elizabeth had led a sheltered life. Had led a sheltered kind of life. Her parents said it was for her own good. You know magic, Elizabeth. If others caught you on your own, you would be in great danger. People often try to use witches for their own ends, but Elizabeth was certain. All of her life, she had wanted to explore the world beyond the walls of her parents' home. Now she had the chance, she didn't want to waste it. Why should she care overly much about her sister's fate anyway? Lynette was older than her by 3 years, and her elder sister, Lynette, was supposed to take care of her, but nothing could be further from the truth. Lynette was a bully who often delegated tasks to Elizabeth, whether things went wrong. Whenever things went wrong, Elizabeth always received the blame. Elizabeth loved her sister, she supposed, but she did not particularly like her. In the end, it was almost too easy for Elizabeth to walk away from all that. She asked the knight, her eyes shining with admiration, if she could join her, and the knight, after some deliberation, eventually agreed. So the two girls came to travel across Mercia together, fighting monsters that pose a threat to the general populace and sleeping beneath the stars. Elizabeth used her magic to craft Leofi a new sword that would not shatter, an armor that could protect her from any foe. The young witch had never used her powers to create items that could kill before. She'd always only ever used her magic to create potions or heal wounds, but everything was different now. Leofi felt different too. Elizabeth felt different too. She cared for Leofi more than she had cared for anyone else. She desperately wanted to help her in her quest. Others mocked Leofi's attempt to become a knight, but Elizabeth would always support her. That was because she loved her. Whenever skirmishes erupted between Mercia and East Anglia, or Mercia and Daria, or Mercia and Wessex, Leofi was there to fight sword in hand. The knights who would have objected to women's presence had little to say when Leofi disguised her identity beneath cold, unfeeling armor. But they didn't know Leofi was a woman. She was welcome like any soldier might be, and all praised her skills with the sword. Leofi might have been a woman, but she was not at all squeamish when it came to blood. She could cut down any number of men with relative ease, her movements light and nimble as though she was dancing. She didn't pause, and neither did she falter. Her confidence in herself never wavered, and her pride as a knight was unshakable. She was a model knight through and through. But the moment the truth behind Leofi's gender was revealed, the knights she had once fought with as equals began to distance themselves from her. No longer did they see her skill and raw talent. Instead, they asked, brows raised, what a woman was doing on the battlefield. Oh, she's not at home peeling carrots and stoking the fire and tending to her father. These questions fell thick and heavy like snow until Leofi began to buckle under the pressure. Perhaps that's why, 2 years after she began adventuring with Elizabeth, she came to the conclusion. I'm going to defeat that dragon that lurks deep in the nearby forest, Leofi said decisively. Then I'll prove to everyone how serious I am about being a knight. You'll be able to mock or insult me then. But it'll be dangerous, Elizabeth said, who had heard the story about the vicious dragon. What if it hurts you? It'll be fine. You'll be with me, like always, and you should be able to heal me. You have proven yourself to be an excellent nurse during our adventures. It is true I can heal scrapes and cuts, but you've never picked a fight with a dragon before. It's killed only dozens of men. Will you really be able to beat it? I should think so, yes. Many men have charged it and failed. But I should be the first woman. It has never killed a member of the fairy sex before, and it never shall either. You say that, but you're getting cold feet. You're beginning to sound like my dear brother. No, I didn't mean to tell you what to do, of course. I'll go with you, of course, Leofi said. Elizabeth said, mustering up what little scraps of determination she had. Elizabeth was afraid of facing a dragon, but more than that, she was afraid of Leofi facing the dragon. She did not want Leofi to die. He'd been traveling for 2 years at this point, and Leofi was her whole world. She had abandoned her family, who had loved her dearly, so she could travel by Leofi's side. If Leofi died, she didn't know what she would do. She adored Leofi from the bottom of her heart, but Elizabeth had never told Leofi this. She was too shy, too awkward, too afraid of being rejected. All she could do was help Leofi from afar. That's more than enough for her, though. Elizabeth told herself she could content herself with that much. If only Leofi would stay alive. If Leofi meant to challenge that fierce dragon, then Elizabeth would do all she could to help her. Their fate were inexorably tied together. Wherever Leofi went, Elizabeth would follow. That was simply how things were. Determined anew, Elizabeth steeled her nerve. Though she was afraid, she refused to let it show. She chased the shivers from her legs and accompanied Leofi as she delved deep into the woods. The trees surrounded them on all sides, and the sun began to sink beneath the horizon. The night sky was dark and velvety, and the wind caressed Elizabeth's cheeks as she shivered. It ran through her hair and danced through the trees like dozens of whispers, a whole patchwork of disembodied voices. But Elizabeth was with Leofi, and she was not afraid. That's what she told herself, at least. But when the dragon finally appeared, Elizabeth felt her courage desert her. One look at the beast's eyes was enough for the girl to finally realize what, or rather who, that dragon was. In a way, Elizabeth had known the moment she heard the rumors of savaged villages, charged trees, and a wake of dead or dying knights with broken limbs and twisted necks. These stories only began to crop up a couple years prior, after Elizabeth left home. She had told her parents she would find an antidote, but she never had. She had, instead, been quite swept up by Leofi and her love and her promise of a new, exciting life. She tried to forget her family, but they did not forget her. They had not forgotten her. Elizabeth could see the recognition of the dragon's eyes, and it almost destroyed her. Her sister still lurked to say that fearsome beast, though its delirium, it could recognize her. Lynette was still there somewhere, and Elizabeth did not want to hurt her. She did not want to hurt anyone, but she had no choice. All Elizabeth could do was watch on, frozen, her eyes wide, as her beloved knight and her own sister began to fight. Claws locked against Leofi's sword, sparks flew in the air. The dragon howled, and Elizabeth clapped her hands over her ears to cower in fright. She has always been a crybaby. That's why Lynette had teased her so much. Lynette had told her there were monsters in the forest with razor-sharp teeth, and she believed her unquestioningly. But Lynette had been right. She was the monster now. She destroyed her old home and killed her parents, and if left unchecked, she would kill everybody else. Lynette had murdered dozens of once brave knights, all desperate to bring her down. It was all Elizabeth's fault. She had found an antidote for her sister. None of this would have happened. She had failed. I would not let you get the better of me. Leofi and the dragon exchanged blows. Leofi was able to pierce the dragon's heart with her enchanted blade, but the dragon was berserk with rage, and it was not content to die so easily. It clung onto life, desperate to take at least one person down with it. The dragon turned its head, teeth bared, and with what little energy it had left, struck out with sharpened claws. Leofi tried to dodge for once, the only time when it really mattered. She was so slow. The dragon caught her with its sharpened claws, and it ran her through. Dragon's mighty talons pierced Leofi's ribcage, and blood splattered from Leofi's mouth. Droplets of blood splashed the front of Leofi's shirt, and they dotted the ground. She was dying.
But even as the grip on her blade slackened and her knees hit the ground with a series of dull thuds, there was a small smile upon Leofi's face. She had been defeated, yes, but before she took her last breath, she was finally able to prove her worth. She had killed the dragon. That's a long-ass story, Jesus Christ. No. Leofi, as Elizabeth staggered, her hands clasped over her ears. Her face is unhealthily pale, and her body is trembling from the crown of her head to the tips of her toes. No, that can't be right. It isn't true. But I... It looks like you remember now. Truth is finally beginning to come back to you in bits and pieces. No, it isn't it. It isn't true. It's not. You can try to deny it all you want, but it's a futile effort. Even you must have realized it by now, my irresponsible little sister. You liked Leofi so much, you could not help but idolize her. To you, she was not just a knight, she was a shiny beacon of hope. She might as well have been a saint. Saint Leofi, can you imagine it? Lynette scoffs. But, though you adored her, she was not indestructible. She merely acted like she was. She tried to face me, but she put on a valiant display. It took all she had to strike her. It took all that I had to strike her down. In the end, it killed me. No. But it killed her too. No, that's not. Luffy looked at her hands, the palms facing upwards. Her whole body is shaking and her eyes are a little too large. If I really am Elizabeth, then why did I think I was Leofi when I woke up? Why am I wearing her clothes and holding her sword? That I cannot say for certain. Why only you know the answer to that. But you are Elizabeth. That much is irrefutable. After all, the brave knight who killed me did not look a bit like you. She had blonde hair and blue eyes, but your hair and eyes are brown. I was wondering about that, because Edmund was blonde. Her hair was blonde? Yes, indeed. I remember it clearly. She was beautiful like a doll. She looked like a princess from a fairy tale. But you have always been plain. Our features are alike, but nobody said I was the prettier sister. Sisters. I see. Maybe that is right. Elizabeth pressed her fingertips against her face. She feels her cheeks, then her lips, then the bridge of her nose, as though she's touching them for the first time. I knew she was going to die, but I couldn't accept that. She meant everything to me. I loved her, but I never told her. I was too much of a coward. But still, I wanted to save her. I could not let her disappear. So what did you do? How did you save her? I carried her body deep into the forest. She was faint and losing a lot of blood, but she wasn't dead. I laid her to rest inside the secret glade, then protected it with any number of enchantments. It was hard work. I used so much magic, the tips of my fingers felt numb, the blood in my veins ran cold. But I was determined to protect her, refused to let anyone harm her. And then I put a spell on her, my last vestige of magical energy. I enchanted that pendant Mother gave me. Do you remember it? It was a gift for my 13th birthday. Ah yes, that pendant. It was only a trinket, really. Made of a hollowed out bone and knotted with a leather cord, but maybe jealous all the same. It did not seem fair for my foolish younger sister should receive jewellery when I had not had the features to set it off. It was wasted on you. I know. You told me that several times, and you tried to steal it from me. Oh my, did I really? Yes, you tried to steal everything I owned, but I kept it close. You broke my cup and my ball and all my dolls, but I never did let you get your grubby fingers on that. It was my most prized possession. And you gave that important trinket to your little knight. I did so I could protect her. I didn't have anything else to hand, and I wanted so badly for her to live. I enchanted that necklace, then I draped it over Leofi's neck.
What if I could rest in the glade? If she could rest in the glade, protected by my manifold enchantments, then she would be safe. She would sleep forever like a princess from a fairy story. But she wouldn't die. She would stay alive despite her wounds. I could curl up by her side forever in that grassy hollow. I just wanted to stay with her. I wanted to protect her. No matter what happened, I wanted to be with her. Yes, very touching. That really is a sweet story, but your magic is rather more potent than you thought. What do you mean? Your spell saved Leofi, yes, but it had repercussions. Your magic worked its way through the roots of the trees and the soil beneath our feet. It imbued the whole forest with a strange, peculiar kind of magic that attracted fairies and goblins. Wraiths? Indeed. Your emotions must have been running rampant, because that enchantment of yours was quite out of control. You gave new life to the remains of the knight, which I had long since defeated. I reached Leofi's hapless brother too, who ventured into the forest, meaning to deter her from fighting the dragon. He was unable to make it in time. Your enchantment kept him bound to this forest, unable to move on. Bound me to this forest too. Leofi killed me, but your spell gave me a new lease of life. I was still alive, but barely. Unable to step foot far beyond this forest before disintegrating. I've been chained to this wood for hundreds of years. I've been quite lost and lonely all these years, with nobody to talk to save for Leofi's brother. He was quite single-minded, I fear. He did not make for a very good conversational partner. Leofi was the only thing he wanted to talk about. I tried to find the root because of the spell, so I could break it, but all your enchantments kept me away. I was unable to find you. I've been trapped here for hundreds of years, while you slept peacefully, unaware of how many problems you and your stupid teenage feelings caused. But my feelings weren't stupid. They meant a lot to me. I truly loved Leofi. So that gives you ample excuse to abandon your duties and run off with a shiny new toy. That shiny new toy, as you call her, was nice to me, which is more than it could have been said for you. You were supposed to be my sister. You were supposed to look after me. But I was the exact opposite. When we were growing up, you were my worst enemy. You put my shoes in the river and you tied my hair into knots so tight it had to be cut short. And you kicked me under the table at dinner time. Plucked all the blackberries from the forest in the summer, and you never let me have any of them. You ate them all, every last one, even when you got juice all over your lips and cheeks and you gave yourself a stomachache. You couldn't sleep that night because it hurt so much, and I refused to give you any medicine. But I was the one who got scolded. Olympus stands there, trembling, her gaze directed at the ground. When you were cursed, I felt glad I could never get the better of you. But that prince did. I was pleased you finally got what you deserved. So you think I deserved to suffer for centuries because of some petty childhood squabbles? It may have seemed petty to you, but I was a child back then and those squabbles were my whole life. I lived a life of being pinched discreetly when father's back was turned, and I have my things stolen and my clothes cut out. It was so bad I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't stand the thought of going back to that house and all your mean-spirited abuse. The only thing I could do was run away. I just wanted to be happy. And a fine new mess you made of it. Just like you did with everything else. Your pursuit of happiness cursed this whole forest. You damned us all. Elizabeth winced at this. Some of her self-righteous anger evaporated. She looked at her feet, her expression was heavy in sighs. I know you're right about that. I suppose I do feel guilty. You were always cruel to me, but I never meant for you to suffer so. I truly do not believe you deserve such torment, though you used to poke your sewing needle through my fingernails when we were young. You teased me and pulled my hair, and sometimes you scratched me so hard I bled, but you were still my sister. I did care about you, deep down. But you cared about your knight more. Maybe. I love you as a sister, but I was born from a sense of obligation. When it came to Leofi, though, I don't know. I adored her. I loved her, but not because I had to, because I wanted to. She made me so happy that I couldn't accept that she was gone when you were aroused from your slumber centuries later. She meant so much to me that I suppose our memories must have been muddled. My dreams during those centuries must have revolved around her, and when I awoke I really did think that I was her. I knew so much about her, it was easy for me to confuse her memories with my own. She had told me so much about her past during the 2 years we were together, and I had always wished I could be like her. Eventually I convinced myself that I was her, but I know I was deluded. If I had realized I was Elizabeth, the witch who betrayed her own big sister, the guilt may have consumed me. So you can feel guilty. I was beginning to worry. At least you know you're still human. That's right, I am human. I've always been a human. I feel things too much and my feelings get hurt easily. I cry a lot. I know that's why you used to bully me so much. I must admit, your reactions were almost amusing. That was not who I wanted to be. I wanted to be strong and brave like her, and I wanted to smell like the sun. I did not want to regret who I was, and I did not want to regret my past. I wasn't always happy when I was alive. But Marnie gave me a second chance. I was determined to follow Leofi's example. I wanted to be happy like her. But I'm not her. If I am Elizabeth, not Leofi, then... Elizabeth glanced around the forest, her brow furrowed. What happened to her? Was my magic able to heal her, or...? I swallow. I'm paying close attention to this back and forth between these estranged sisters, all the while doing my very best to piece this complex narrative together. Not particularly smart, Miss Partridge would have been the first person to attest to that, but all that talk about trinkets made me wonder. Elizabeth left Leofi with an enchanted pendant. I'm not exactly certain, but I think I know what happened to Leofi. You do? I have a, what would they say in Silent Witness? Hunch? No, that's not quite right. Then they probably say hypothesis, I guess? Oh my! How amazing, you sound like a detective, Barney. I'm not sure what a detective is, but if you haven't found any magical powers whatsoever, you were awfully astute. Go on then. What is your hypothesis, human girl with a strange name? She thinks I have a strange name? This is definitely a case of the pot calling the kettle black. But disregard that for now, there's more important matter at hand, mysteries to solve. So close to the truth I can almost taste it on my fingertips, not that fingers can taste. This may sound crazy, but I think Leofi recovered from those injuries. She was on the brink of death after being attacked by the dragon, but Elizabeth's magic was able to save her just in time. She cast a protective spell around the glade so nobody could ever hope to penetrate. Then she cast an enchantment upon her mother's pendant. She wound the magic pendant around Leofi's neck and, exhausted after using so much energy, fell asleep. While Elizabeth slept, the magic imbued into the pendant worked its way through Leofi's body. She made a full recovery when she opened her eyes. When she woke up, she was deep in the forest. Maybe she was a bit confused at first, but she didn't know what happened. When she saw you sleeping beside her, Elizabeth must have figured it out. She realized that you must have used your magic to rescue her and that she was grateful. She didn't want your sacrifice to be in vain, so she left the enchanted blade and left the forest. The rest is all conjecture. So the rest of my so-called hypothesis, wasn't. But I think she continued to live as a knight, fought many battles and drove back dozens of mysterious beasts, and she made a name for herself and became a well-respected knight across the land. Then one day she decided to settle down, had a family, she had children, and she lived happily ever after. She lived until a ripe old age, and she was happy from the bottom of her heart to have met a person like you, Elizabeth. Maybe she didn't love you the way you loved her, but she cared for you. She never stopped being appreciative, I'm sure of that. Oh, Marnie. That really is a nice story, but... that's all it is, a story. Where's your proof? For all we know, Leofi could have staggered out of that forest in a daze and been eaten by a wolf. A wolf? Lovey's face turns pale. She shudders, pressing a hand against her mouth as though to ward off a wave of nausea. No way, it could never happen. Leofi was strong, noble knight. She could have looked after herself. She was a weak and dazed after a skirmish with me, if I do recall. I pride myself on being a fierce woman, and even more fearsome dragon. It would not be unusual if she died in that forest. Her bones might have been amongst those skeletal knights that roam this forest when the full moon is high and seeks revenge. No, it's not true. It's not what happened. Luffy lived on, and I'm sure of it. I'm sure she did. But how do you know that? Because of my grandma. A few days ago, she gave me this. You're not telling me the grandmother was Luffy all along. So saying, I reach into my pocket and extricate the clue, tying it all together. The pendant. The pendant is comprised of a braided leather cord. A circular stone hangs from the cord with a hole carved in the middle. It looks like a big donut. When I first extracted it from the wooden jewelry box, I thought, that's all? Like an ungrateful granddaughter might. I only kept it to make Gran happy, but now I can see some beautiful powers beyond my wildest imagination. Gran wasn't kidding when she said it's been passed down for her family for generations, centuries old. And I'm sure this is the same pendant Elizabeth enchanted, right here in these woods in a desperate attempt to save her beloved. It has to be true. It must be. That's what I want to believe, at least. But it seems for once my deduction is right on the money. No way, this cannot be possible, but... Lynette, do you see this? Yes, indeed. I did not get a chance to examine this before, so its exact origins were a mystery to me. But now I can tell what this pendant is quite plainly. I did wonder, but there's no doubt about it. This is my mother's, but... Elizabeth approaches me with trembling legs, fingers outstretched as they turn the pendant over. Marnie. Elizabeth looks up with large, imploring eyes. How did you get your hands on this? It's like I said, Gran gave it to me. Your grandmother? But then that means... She said it was a family heirloom. Apparently her mother gave her that necklace, but it was her grandmother who bequeathed it to her mother, and her great-great-grandmother who gave it to her grandmother. And so on and so on. I think you can see where I'm going with this. Oh, I see. For the first time in so long, I finally understand. I was drawn to you, Marty, from the very beginning. What is a coincidence, but your long blonde hair, your pale skin, even the shape of your nose. You really do look like Leofi. Yeah, I guess I probably do. Never seen her before, but I'm sure Elizabeth is right. I many generations down the line, but if I trace my family history back enough, across a complex tree comprised of tangled roots and branches, I'm sure I'd find her eventually. To me, Leofi might as well be a shadowy footnote in a history book. I never met her and I never will, and yet she's my great etc. grandmother. We're family. So, Leofi was able to live a long, happy life. I'm glad, I'm pleased for her, but... Elizabeth grips the necklace, my necklace, that I suppose once upon a time it belonged to her, tightly, her eyes narrowed. This charm has caused far too much trouble. My desire to save Leofi cursed this whole forest. It keeps you anchored in place here, unable to leave, and all those snakes too. I must have poured too much magic into this necklace, it's far too potent. If I undo the enchantment, should lift the curse. I'll finally be able to pass on Lynette, just like you should. These souls haunting this place will find an eternal rest, and everything will go back to normal. What do you think? Do you want me to undo all the harm I've caused? I think that'd be grand, yes. Wish we had fought a bit more before you cast that spell, my stupid little sister, but I suppose I cannot be too mad at you. You are my flesh and blood. You are all I have left in this world. And, though I may have been abominable to you when we were younger, I really do love you. Aww. I love you too, Lynette. I love you a lot, and that's why I don't want you or anyone else to suffer because of my selfishness. I'll remove this enchantment, and then you can finally rest. Elizabeth closes her eyes and mumbles something beneath her breath.
It's light and lilting, like the ocean waves, spoken in a strange foreign tongue I can't understand. That's how people spoke in Anglo-Saxon England all those years ago. If my history teacher was here, I'm sure he'd have a field day. But no, nobody would believe a scene like this. Hundreds of years ago, people across England unanimously believed in witches and dragons and fairies. The country may have been divided into uneven chunks, like a child's birthday cake, but superstition persisted from Sussex to America, or Mercia. That was something the people put their faith in. Witches and magic were real and concrete, like saints and angels and miracles. King Kleinhelm had prophetic dreams many centuries ago. This is all a matter of course. Nobody believes in myths and legends now. I could tell my teacher about this fantastical tale I've witnessed, but they would never believe me. Nobody would. Instead, I vowed to keep this moment shut up inside my own head. A death-defying battle with a vicious dragon, soft whisper of fairies among the trees, lifting cadence of a bygone language. I'll remember it all. Even as the magic fades from my pendant and the earth shifts beneath my feet. The night's beginning to break away, beads of light dancing around her body like fireworks. She's fading, but with her dying breath, she reaches out to wrap her arms around her sister's trembling shoulders. Aww. Lynette, oh Lynette. It's alright, Elizabeth. Be strong. But you, we have barely had any time together, but you're already vanishing. I know, and it's sad, but I'm sure we'll meet again. I believe that wholeheartedly. Are you sure? I am. No. Lynette brings her fingers to her sister's cheek. She wipes away Elizabeth's stray tears, and an affectionate smile plays about her lips. Why are you crying, you silly thing? You never shed tears over me in the past, save for when I teased you. You have no reason to be upset. Didn't you say that you were drawn to Leofi because of her smile? Yes, that's right. There were many things about Leofi I loved, but I particularly adored her smile. Then please, try to smile. It made me happy to see you happy again. In the past, I teased and harassed you. I tripped you up and pinched you inside your arm and made you cry. You really smiled then. I never thought much of it. It was little for me to do, and I liked exerting my dominance over you. It was a sort of a sport to me. I never realized how much I had hurt you. I was a hopeless poor sister to you when I was alive, and I must have been a terrible role model. But I think you turned out surprisingly well, despite one or two hiccups. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now I can finally rest in peace. Lynette. Oh, Lynette. Elizabeth calls out after the ghostly impression of her older sister, but it's already too late. Lynette has vanished, and so too has the starry night sky above our heads. Christ, losing two siblings in one day. Once the forest was enchanted by Lynette's intense magic. The day could turn into night on a whim, and a strange being lurked amongst the shadows, waiting to pounce upon any wayward humans who had lost their way. This forest is no longer strange and twisted. It has been restored. The sun is shining like it should. I can't hear any mocking malice whispers upon the breeze. The skeletal warriors who emerged from the fog have vanished, their decaying souls freed. This forest has finally been cleansed of its curse. I glance around, amazed. The grass has never looked more verdant, the blue flowers more full of life. Birds flit amongst the trees, and squirrels chase one another in the undergrowth. Everything is back to normal. Oh, and there, lying beneath the base of a sycamore tree, like a faithful pet, is an item I thought I'd long since lost. It's Grad's picnic hamper. Part of me wonders what it was doing here. Didn't I abandon it further into the forest? But I suppose that hardly matters. Somehow this makes perfect sense. All the lifting of Elizabeth's curse, all the lost things have been found. Everything has been put back into its proper place, including this wicker hamper. I suppose you could call this a perfect happily ever after ending. There are no more loose ends. Apart from one. So, I'm still here, huh? Elizabeth looked ponderously at her own hands. She turned them over as though expecting them to ripple and flicker like the surface of a lake. But they don't. Water remains unquestionably solid.
I thought I made advantage of my sister, but she must have been right about me. I really am stubborn. Still, this is quite a predicament. What am I supposed to do now?
Don't you want to experience life in this century, Elizabeth? Didn't you have fun? Elizabeth turned to look at me, her eyes glazed as though she only just noticed I'm here. She blinked once, twice, and then...
Of course I want to experience a new life. All this time I thought I was Leofi, tried to forget who I really was because my real life was so hopelessly dull. I spent so much of my life in my parents' home brewing potions. My father warned me not to wander too far, for witches were in high demand and feared I would come to harm. But I was too late. I came to harm every day by merely being around my sister. She always teased me. That was all my life was for 15 years. It was one house, the pond behind it, and the edge of the forest, but no further. I was not permitted to wander more than that. It was so dull and boring, I felt like I was going mad. I rarely smiled. There was a precious little to smile about. The days were grey and ordinary.
Until you met her?
That's right, until I met her.
Elizabeth glances around the forest, nearly freed from its shackles. The grass sways gently on its feet. Birds amongst the branches twitter jauntily to one another. If my grandma were here, I'm sure she'd be able to name the birds by their cries alone. There are blue tits and chaffinches, and what else? I'm not sure, it might be fun to find out.
I had a lot of fun with her, but it all ended much too soon. Really had a chance to live my life before she was torn away from me. I used up all my magic to save her, and so I fell into an eternal sleep. While I was asleep, I forgot who I was. I forgot everything. Of course I wanted to lead another life, not as Leofi, but as myself. I want to experience everything this century has to offer. I want to go on long walks through the forest, and I want to watch TV, and I would very much like to know what these McDonald's hamburgers taste like. Everything is also strange and new and exciting, and I want to experience it with you. I want to live my life like a normal girl, not a witch. That's all I ever wanted.
Then why don't you? There's nothing stopping you. You're still here, and I'm still here too, so why don't we have fun together?
I don't know if I can. I may not deserve it.
Why not? Why don't you deserve it?
Because it's all my fault.
Elizabeth stamps her foot against the ground, her expression contorted with a series of emotions that can't quite place. She definitely looks pained. But there's also remorse in there too, and grief and guilt. So much guilt.
I'm happy I met you, Marnie. I really did have fun. I loved being with you. I may even love you too. I may even have loved you too, but I made so many people suffer because of my selfishness. My sister and Edmund and all those nights. My parents who have been worried sick, waiting for my return home. And the humans of this current century who wandered in this cursed forest and never made it out alive. I've caused too much hurt and pain in my life. I'm not a good person and I don't deserve another chance. I should remove myself from this century and reunite with my sister in the afterlife. That's all I deserve. No, you're wrong. You don't know that. Yes, I do. But I don't want to listen to another self-effacing, degrading word Elizabeth has to say. I'm sick of it. I just want her to be happy, damn it. And so it is, in a frenzied fit of teenage rebellion, I shall erupt the most efficient way I know how.
Yo, classic. Press my lips against hers in a kiss. Two of us stand there for a while, kissing. Elizabeth is frozen at first, like a statue, but soon she responds to my ministrations. She winds her arms around my waist and I about hers. We indulge in the moment for a while, our eyes closed, my fingers gripped the back of Elizabeth's shirt, as though an attempt to pull her even closer. Not that that's possible, we're already as close as we can be. Elizabeth has to stoop into the kiss because she's taller than I am, but then again, everyone's taller than me. Her back arched, her chest is pressed against mine. I can feel her heart beating in tandem with my own, rapid and erratic like a rabbit's. When I draw back, Elizabeth's eyes are glassy. Her hair is a little rumpled.
Marnie, you still want to kiss me after everything that's happened?
Of course, why wouldn't I? Say, you're cute, especially when you blush.
I
Elizabeth looks at me for a few moments, stunned to silence. Her lips open and close, but no noise comes out. I can't help but grin to myself. It's the same smug grin I always afford myself when I manage to steal the last hazelnut and caramel chocolate from the box quality treats we have at Christmas. My dad calls it gremlin grin, which is where I got the nickname Gizmo. Making a girl so much taller than me blush is quite satisfying. I'll have to do it more often.
But Marnie...
Finally, Elizabeth returns to her senses. Her mouth forms words, and soon her words form full sentences, most of them ending with question marks.
I'm not really Leofi, you know.
I know.
But that means I've been lying about my identity this whole time. I'm not a knight, I'm just a failed witch who ran away from her problems and hurt her family. How can you forgive me for that?
I don't have anything to forgive you for. You never did anything wrong to me.
You had no real experience.
You know, experience of a sword, but you were able to stand against Sophie's brother on my behalf, and those skeletons and the dragon. You had been mistaken about your identity, but you weren't lying. Deep down, you've been every bit the brave knight Leofi was. He's never had a chance to discover all that hidden courage until now.
But the girl you thought I was is someone else entirely. She's your own ancestor.
Yeah, I guess that's right, huh? That was a bit of a weird twist, even for me. Unexpected.
But this, you and me, it's all wrong.
What's wrong about it? Is it because we're both girls?
No, of course not. That's not a problem. I don't mind at all.
Luffy smiles at me, and I can't help but smile in return, both of us laughing over a shared secret. Nobody else in Fenchapel will believe that Elizabeth is completely different from a completely different England that existed hundreds of years ago, but she knows, and I know, and that's enough for me. It's more than enough to convince me this really happened.
But Marnie? Something drew me to you. I thought you looked somewhat familiar, though. Couldn't quite place it, and I was right. There's been generations, but you really do look like Leofi. It's uncanny. In fact, you were a little taller. You'd be a spitting image.
Gee, thanks for reminding me. I roll my eyes. I'm tiny, don't you rub it in.
I wasn't trying to insult you, I'm just saying. I love you. I loved Leofi. I loved her a lot. When I looked at her, my heart skipped a beat and I fantasized about her often. And I had so many dreams about her.
Luffy blushes, her eyes half-lidded. Elizabeth, really. Though I'm not insensitive enough to talk about the nature of these dreams, I think I can make an educated guess. I'm not completely stupid regardless of what Miss Gilsby thinks.
I was never able to confess my feelings to her. I was too scared and shy, and I didn't want to be rejected. We were only ever friends, but my feelings for her were real. I know they were. I loved her, and I can't help but see her in you, though your personalities are completely different. You're related to the woman I love, you share her blood, and you share some of her looks. I can't help but wonder if the person I love really is you, or the memory of her I see in you. I thought I cared for you, but I may have been mistaken. I don't know if I've truly forgotten Leofi. I don't think I ever will. I don't know if I can love anybody other than her, and that's why it wouldn't be fair to me to be ruined by your side. I don't want to give you false hope.
So you're afraid you don't really love me?
Please try to understand. I know I like you, but the situation is so complicated. It's hard for me to pick up the feelings inside my heart. I don't really know how I'm supposed to feel. It's all too confusing.
You can say that again. I'm pretty screwed up, but the way I look like her, you said I don't act like her, right?
No, not at all. Lufa was smiling valiantly. She thought she was a part of the night. Thought it was part of the knight's duty alongside fighting errant knights and evil dragons. She just wanted to make everyone happy. You, however...
Yeah, I get it. I'm gloomy and I hardly ever smile and not all that much fun. I make sarcastic remarks and I use crass language and I don't respect my elders. I'm no knight. In fact, I'm pretty rotten.
I don't know if I'd go quite that far.
I would, but you said you liked me all the same. I'm still a stupid teenager and I don't know what I want to do with my life. But you saw how awkward and indecisive I am, and you still decided to stay with me. I know I'm not Leofi, but I am Marnie. Isn't that enough?
I don't know. I hope so, but
Then let's keep hoping, okay? Take Elizabeth's hand of my own, linking our palms together. A warm summer's breeze runs through the forest. The grass at my feet dances as do the leaves in the trees. I can smell summer in the air. The grass is studded with flowers, all soft pastel colors with downy petals and hanging heads. Bluebells and primroses grow beneath the shades of the tall trees, and greenish sunlight filters through the leaves of the trees. Penchapel may be small, and it really is pretty, but I can't believe I didn't notice it before. I used to see the worst in everything. I went through life with my head bowed, staring at the ground, so I didn't have to properly look at anything or anyone. I didn't like myself, and I didn't like the world. I was bitter and cynical. Being with Elizabeth has given me a new perspective. She feels like a better version of me. And that has to mean something, doesn't it? Only a stupid teenager, and maybe my thoughts don't matter, but I think it does matter. I think it does. It must. No matter what happens between you and Leofe, I'm here now. So are you. We're still together, and I want to stay together. Let's keep making each other happy, okay?
oh, Marnie, you would like that, but is it even possible? I would like that, but is it even possible?
Why shouldn't it be? All the impossible things have happened to me over the last week. Compared to fighting off a huge dragon, that should be child's play.
But I come from an entirely different world for you. You're from the Century and I'm from Maine. No matter how much I wish to the contrary, I don't have a place in your life.
Girl, will you shut up? Stop doubting yourself for 5 minutes, then I'll make a place for you. I promise. Because after everything we've been through, I really do love you. Aww.
Marnie.
They speak those words, I swear I can feel Grant's pendant, I suppose it's really Elizabeth's pendant, impress itself against my skin. Pendant feels icy cold, just as it did whenever I discovered Elizabeth was asleep in the forest, and when I rescued her from the falling for the night. If there's any magic left in this old trinket, passed down for centuries upon centuries, that I want to believe, I would like to hope that it can make my wish come true. I want Elizabeth to live a long, happy life that was denied during her own time. I want to stay with her, that's all. Then and only then would we be able to have our own happily ever after. Shit, I don't know, it feels like a kind of abrupt end, I guess. I guess it was kind of satisfying. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like this as much as the other ones I've played. It was like super long, and the Give me a second. Like the story was really drawn out. And I just think it was a really convoluted story. I mean, don't get me wrong, the romance is okay. I like the slice of life scenes. I'm just dicking around in town. But I guess it's just like, I don't know, it didn't really feel like it knew what it wanted to be. I guess I always forget how to pronounce the author's name. Ebiheim. Yeah, I guess she's just better at writing slice of life, because Strawberry Vinegar was basically all slice of life, and I fucking loved that shit. Ayo? Oh, never mind. We're getting an epilogue. Soon. Too soon, in fact. My final day at Grand's arrived. Come tomorrow morning, my parents will be here to pick me up. Full to the brim with tales of the sun, the sea, and of course, Valentin Roth. Oh, I forgot that was a fucking... That's the story started. Pretty much predict what will happen beat for beat, word for word. Mumble gush about seeing Valentin Roth, only he can turn her back into a giggly, starry-eyed schoolgirl. Dad will tease her. Mum will snap at him in turn, and her cheeks will be red, and she won't be able to stop smiling. Dad will hug me and ruffle my hair, and Mum will ask Grandma Iris if I behaved myself, and then they'll bundle me into the car. Dad will talk about my suitcase and hurl it into the boot, back hobbled, pretending to carry the weight of the world. And then he'll slide into the driver's seat. All clear, everyone? You okay back there, Gizmo? What about you, Louis? Alright then, let's prepare for takeoff. 3, 2, 1. And Dad will turn the key in the ignition, shift the gear stick into first, and we'll be off. We'll cruise for the tree-lined driveway, churning gravel beneath our tires. Grandma will watch and wave from the doorstep, her wispy grey hair fluttering in the wind. Dad will pause at the automatic wooden gate for a while, tapping his fingers against the steel wheel. The wooden gate at the end of my grandmother's driveway are old and rickety, and the mechanism that opens them is going kaput. It would take a good 15 seconds for them to open far enough to allow a car to squeeze through. Then we'll be off, driving away into the, well, not sunset, because it's relatively early and the sun is still high in the sky, but whatever. Will be like the closing scene in a movie, a cheerful, inspiring song playing, possibly by Valentin Roth, while credits scroll along the screen, superimposed against the sky. It sounds cheesy, sure, but it's what I've been waiting for ever since Mum and Dad dropped me off at Grant's. I'd have put up with anything, even the crooning strains of Valentin Roth played on repeat from the car speakers, if only I could have gone back home. But now Elizabeth is here, and she may present a bit of a snag in my otherwise perfect happy ending. Mum and Dad won't know she's with me. They don't even know who she is. I was just Gran and think she's one of my friends from school, but will Mum and Dad think? What will Mum and Dad think? We'll be able to use the exact same excuse with them. I don't know what to do.
Marnie?
Elizabeth seems to share my concern, because she's peering anxiously into my face.
What do you think your parents will think about me?
They wouldn't let me go back.
They wouldn't let me go back home with you, right?
That sounds unlikely. My mum is organized to a fault, and she hates surprises of any variety. She would be upset if Elizabeth was she would be upset if Elizabeth was a cat I'd rescued from a street corner, let alone a living, breathing human girl. Where would we put her? We'd have a spare bedroom, but that's reserved for guests. Well, it's true we don't get all that many guests. We're not a B&B. I'm sure my mum would tuts and say, it's a principle of the thing. She says that quite a lot, though. It's not entirely sure what it means. Personally, I think it's just a roundabout way of saying no.
I thought as much.
This could be bad. Elizabeth hangs her head, eyes downcast, and bites her lower lip.
Had a lot of fun with you, Marnie. I like you a lot. I don't want to say goodbye just yet.
Elizabeth. My heart twists inside my chest. It hurts. Never thought I'd feel so sorry to leave dreary old Fanchapel. But after meeting Elizabeth, I've come to learn Fanchapel isn't half as dreary as I thought. It has a complex, sprawling history. The lives of many people from centuries past are entwined in this sleepy little village. The verdant forest full to bursting with mythic secrets. My grandma was right, there are fairies in the woods, and many more things besides. Over the last week I met a wandering knight, a cursed maiden, and a sleeping enchantress who fancied herself as somebody else. That's a cast eccentric enough for any fantasy story, though not perhaps on the same scope as Lord of the Rings. I enjoyed myself a lot, despite the earlier reservations. At times I was unnerved, and at others I was terrified, but things worked out in the end, more or less. Though I can hardly believe I ever thought Fanchapel was boring. I've never been more gratified to be wrong about something in all my life. And unlike my mother, I can actually admit that when I'm wrong. I'm happy I met Elizabeth, though we've not known one another all that long. It's become very important to me. How could I say goodbye to her after all we've been for? We fought a dragon together, and as if it wasn't life-changing enough, we even kissed, not just once, but several times. I'm ready for tomorrow. I still need time to prepare. Leaving Fanchapel would feel like waking from a wonderful dream. I don't know if I'll ever get the magic of these past few days back. I can try to tell my parents about you. Maybe they'll listen. It's not like they can just leave you here.
Really?
Elizabeth looks at me, her eyes furrowed.
Do you mean to tell them I was born hundreds of years ago? Do you think they would believe that?
Well, Lost trails off. I was stubbornly atheistic. Doesn't believe in God at all, even though there were about 2 billion Christians, give or take, scattered across the world. Her own sister, the awful Aunt Joyce, among them. My mum refuses to believe in God in any capacity. Could you really believe in magic or fairies or dragons? We just get her to summon her sword again. I convinced you. It's doubtful. No, it's not just doubtful, it's generally impossible. Who would swallow a tall tale like this other than conspiracy theorists? It's much too much to take in. You're right, my parents probably wouldn't believe me. It wouldn't even work. I did assume as much. Elizabeth sighs. What am I going to do? My family are all dead and gone, and I'm still here. I have nowhere to go. I have no place in this world. Perhaps I really should have disappeared. No, don't say that. Reach out and give take Elizabeth's shoulders in my hands. You do have a place here, and it's with me. I'm the one who woke you up, so I should look after you, shouldn't I? I can't leave you. Thank you, Marnie. Elizabeth smiles. Your grandmother was right. You are a very kind girl. You put your friends above all else, and your girlfriend even higher. I know you mean well, but I would not want to cause you any problems. Moreover, Elizabeth glances down at the bed, her fingers sprayed across the duvet. You're still regarded as a child in the society. The house you live in belongs to your parents, not you. As such, you have no such say in their decision. You can try to influence them, but there's no guarantee it would work. We may have met a dragon between us. But realistically speaking, we do not possess all that much power. Not in the modern world. I wince. Elizabeth is right yet again. She not only exists in the 21st century for a week, but she's gleaned a remarkably acute understanding of it after watching so many episodes of Silent Witness with my gran. For being realistic, we have to admit that we're scuppered. This is nothing I can feasibly do, regardless of how much I want to help her. So a couple of years off being an adult, rely on my parents to feed, clothe, and house me. Can't make any important, life-altering decisions without their consent. I'm not even old enough to drink, let alone adopt a brand new member of her family. No matter how I rack my brain, I can't think of any way to resolve this, not without magic. I like to believe things will work out, but my frantic thoughts are interrupted by a sound of knuckles against the bedroom door with Gran's reedy voice. Excuse me, girls. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Can I come in? Honestly, I'd like to keep talking our options for Elizabeth, but I think over the last 10 minutes we've already deduced there's no real options available to us. Nothing but an exercising futility, wandering around in circles. Changing to Gran might cheer me up, and even if it doesn't, I should take my mind off things for a few minutes. Luffy seems to share my thought because she replies before I can. Of course you can, I don't mind one bit. Luffy slips off the bed and pads across the room, ponytail bouncing jovially. Reaching for the door handle, she depresses it, and then pulls the door ajar. Do come in, it's always a pleasure to see you. I can say the same about you, dear. Gran smiles and steps inside though I suppose it's really Aunt Letta's room. Elizabeth closes the door behind her with a click, while Gran shuffles to the chair in the corner. Elizabeth, seeing her struggle, helps her take a seat. Are you alright? Oh well, I'll be fine. My back is quite used to be. It isn't quite what it used to be, but that's one of those ills of old age, I'm afraid. Thank you for being so considerate. You're awfully polite. I hear a lot of stories in the news about teenagers, you know. A lot of them are very flattering. It's always about antisocial behavior and graffiti and unmanageable classrooms. Sometimes you even hear about arson or stabbings. You and Marty aren't like that at all, though you've both been sweethearts. I do wonder about that. Elizabeth smiles vaguely. I was not always the best of people. I have done many things I'm not proud of, but I would like to think I've changed. I just hope it isn't too late. I'm sure it'll be fine, dear. We all make mistakes from time to time, but you're still young. You have plenty of time to learn. Do you believe so? Of course, Leofi, dear. Or should I call you Elizabeth? Uh-huh, you know about that? Oh yes, I've heard you refer to her on many such occasions. Was it supposed to be a secret? Well, I glanced away abashed. I'd meant to let Elizabeth's real name slide, not around Gran. I introduced her as a Leofi. I thought it would best stick to the script until the very end of my visit. Leofi's sudden arrival at Gran was suspicious enough already, with her name shifting after a scant handful of days later. I was trying to be discreet, but I guess I didn't have to try hard enough. Either that, or Grant's a lot sharper than she appears. She might be an old woman now, but much diminished from her former glory, but she was a teacher once upon a time. Her hearing is starting to go, but her ears must be honed after years spent picking up whispers in the woods, or in the sky, in the school classroom. Oh well, now Grant knows. Might as well fess up. That's right, yeah, I called Elizabeth Leofey at first, but it's not a real name, turns out, or rather, it's actually Elizabeth. Really now? How intriguing! Those names do sound rather familiar. Are they not so close to mix them up? I'm surprised you didn't know that already, Marnie. You and Elizabeth seems being such good friends. Frances is light, but I can sense something hard beneath their smile of hers. Not exactly accusatory, but makes me flush with guilt all the same. Grant has been figuring out the truth. Grant hasn't figured out the truth, has she? But how could she? Is it possible any normal person would scoff in disbelief at Elizabeth's peculiar origins? But Grant isn't a normal person, not if we're going by the dictionary definition of the word. She's been talking about fairies since long before I ever clapped eyes on Elizabeth. Has she really figured out the truth? I just... Marnie dear, it's alright. Grant interrupts in an inarticulate stammers, in the gentlest manner imaginable, her smile unwavering. You don't need to keep lying to me. I'm cannier than you might think, and you can't pull the wool from my eyes. Elizabeth is not one of your school friends, and she does not come from Polstow. You found her in the forest, didn't you? I gasp. I feel like all the air has been forced out of my lungs, it's hard to breathe. This must be how the perps feel in Silent Witness after Thomas Chamberlain has figured out their MO. I've been cornered. What am I supposed to do now? Grant, you knew? I did, yes. I had a suspicious suspicion things were not quite right the moment I laid eyes on Elizabeth, and this feeling has only grown during the week. First, there were her confusions over very simple aspects of modern life, not to mention her anachronistic manner of speaking. And then there was her fascination with the stained glass window in the church. I couldn't help but wonder. In the beginning, I did think I was being fanciful. That's what everyone says when I tell them about the fairies. Even on my own son, they think me old and senile. Well, I am old, but I cannot deny that much. Senile, though, I have to refute that. I see more than people give me credit for. Though I think anybody would be able to tell Elizabeth is not a normal girl. Elizabeth, to my surprise, isn't like perturbed by this proclamation. That she smiles shyly, scratching her cheek as she does so. So you knew from the start. I suppose that is not very surprising. I'm not a particularly good actress. No, indeed you were not. You fumbled a good many times, despite Marnie's best efforts. I know. Marnie got annoyed at me about that, but I couldn't help it. Your shepherd's pie was really good, and the running water was amazing, and the TV? I'd never ever seen such things in my life. I could not even begin to imagine them. I know it might seem strange to you and Marnie, but this world is far, far stranger to me. It's been awful to get my head around, and I'm sure there is still much left for me to learn. There's much more I wish to learn. I'm glad I came here, and I'm glad I met you too, wise grandmother. I only hope you were not too upset I attempted to deceive you. I promise I did not wish to tell any lies. Marnie and I only did what we thought we should, so as not to alarm you. I thought I would get something like that, yes. That's why I went along with your little charade. It would be a shame to spoil all your efforts. Gran laughs. I think the cat is well out of the bag now, though there's no need for pretense around me. The cat's... What cat? Elizabeth glanced around the bedroom, her eyes large and anxious. Why did you have a cat? Gran doesn't have a cat, it's a figure of speech. What? Oh, forget it. Had this conversation before it didn't sink in then. Now it won't. Well, if it didn't sink in then, it won't now. This isn't really the time to lecture Elizabeth about the finer points of linguistics. Still, if she's perplexed over an innocuous phrase like that, I wonder how she'll react when she hears about Schrodinger. Anyway, I guess you're right, Grant. I'm sorry for lying to you. I should have known that you'd figure it out if it were properly inevitable. It was probably inevitable. It's fine, dear. I'm not upset. Not even a little bit. Well, perhaps I do resent being left out of your adventures, but there's a reason Ed and Blyton novels don't concern themselves with old women like myself. I don't know what you two girls have been getting up to, but I doubt it could have helped. Would hate to get in the way. I do wonder what will happen to Elizabeth now, though. I'd be correct in presuming you do not have a home to return to. That is correct, yes. I did have a family once, but they're gone now. I'm the only one left. If Marty's parents refuse to accept me, I don't know where I'll go. Where's the fucking notifications coming from? My Discord, apparently. Hold on. Now we're back. I see. Now that is a conundrum. I would offer to look after you myself, but I fear I'm too old. I've raised 5 children, but that was years ago. And now I need Moira to take care of me. I don't know if there's much I can do to help you, dear. But the fairies brought you here, perhaps you'll find somewhere to stay. Somewhere you belong. You still have that pendant in mind, don't you, Marnie? Oh, yes. Like the pendant in my pocket. It feels cool to the touch against my fingers. Reassuringly solid. Thanks for the pendant, Gran. It was a big help. I'm glad to hear it. Was that pendant that led you to Elizabeth? I think I might have been. It brought me to her, and it kept the pair of us safe. That is what my mother said it would do when she gave it to me on my 13th birthday. She said I should keep it close whenever I went into the woods for my own protection. Otherwise, I might find myself in danger. Gran smiled as she recalls the story from her childhood, her gnarled hands resting peacefully upon her lap. I did not believe in magic back then. I thought it was a tissue of nonsense. I kept the pendant for many years, but I never wore it. I quite forgot about it until Frank's passing. That's when I began to hear the fairies. They made me recall my mother's warning, which made me remember the pendant. I found it at the back of a drawer gathering dust. I wore it myself well under the collar of my dress. But when you came here, Marnie, I thought it would be better served with you. I don't know what prompted this decision. It just felt right. I'm very glad I did. I don't know what powers this pendant possesses, but there may be magic enough in that old wooden rock to help you, Elizabeth. Why don't you make a wish upon it? I realize this might be a childish suggestion, but you never know. Your wish may just come true. It's a little long-ass epilogue. That Saturday, Elizabeth and I find ourselves sitting at Grant's kitchen. Elizabeth is sipping a cup of chamomile tea, but her expression is taut, and I don't think she's really tasting it. Okay, maybe a cup of tea too, and paired it with a couple of digestives, but I barely touched it. I don't think I have the stomach for food or drink right now. My fingers bear out an uneasy, regular rhythm against my fly. I can't keep my eyes away from the clock hanging on the wall. It's almost 3 in the afternoon. My parents should be picking me up any minute now. My mum's earlier message is to be believed. I pull my phone out of my pocket and flip it open. Mum sent me a text a couple hours ago telling me she'd gotten off a plane. At long last, it was hell, Marnie, all those crying babies, and she was on the way to Fanchapel. She hasn't sent me any news since. Is she alright? Guy sees me fiddling with my phone and smiles, setting her knitting to one side. I'm not sure what Gran's knitting exactly. Like a strange, shapeless thing, perhaps a hat or maybe a tea cozy. All the knitting pattern is a mysterious, arcane one. I can't wrap my head around it. Did your mum send you another message, dear? Not yet, no. Well, I suspect she doesn't need to. We'll be seeing her soon enough. Provided I didn't get caught in traffic, I guess. Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. These old country roads are never very busy. Maybe not, but the motorway will be packed. It's always on the weekends. Well, let's just sit tight and wait. Gran picks up her knitting again, slowly, methodically, adds more stitches with her gnarled fingers. I hope they had a good time. They went to Bordeaux, wasn't it? That's right. Now that sounded nice. I'd love to wander around the seafront. I've heard the food is delicious there too, and the wine. I don't know if they had much of a chance to sightsee. I'm going to stop banging on about Valentin Roth in the car. Oh, I know your mum's feelings about Valentin. She always talks about him. She's always talking about him. I think it's nice she has something she's so passionate about, but I don't understand the appeal myself. Valentin's almost as old as I am. Gran smiles guiltily and shakes her head. Don't tell her I said that, though. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. I can't pretend I understand the appeal of Valentin either. My phone, warmed by the bright summer sun, buzzes in my palm. As the one cue, I glance down at the screen. It's a new message from Mum. We're there in 10 minutes at Castor now, Olivia. It's nearly time. I wonder what will happen to Elizabeth. She made a wish upon the pendant last night at Gran's behest, but there's no guarantee the magic will work. What if it's worn off by now? I have no way of knowing either. I simply need to wait. Marnie, are you alright? Elizabeth shuffles a little closer to me, like her chair scraping against the floor. Her ponytail sways and a few loose strands of hair brushing against my cheek. She smells of Gran's lace shampoo, and something about her presence makes me feel comforted. I'm alright. I try to smile at her, but I don't have much practice, and my cheeks twinge. I was just thinking. What about? Us, I guess? It's all well and good to say we'll be together, but in the real world, there are obstacles that can prevent that from happening. All Elizabeth do if my parents won't accept her, where would she go? I don't want to live out her days on the streets. I'd be able to make a living searching for scraps of food. That would be way too depressing. Well, let's try not to worry. I think we've done enough of that for last night. Personally, I would like to tell myself this will all work out. But how do you know that? I don't know, but I believe it's regardless. That's what magic is all about. I was a witch myself in my first life, so I know how it works. If you want to cast a spell, you really need to mean it. So does that mean you really want to stay with me? I do. Luffy nods nervously, her expression set. More than anything. Oh, Elizabeth. I open my mouth, ready to reply, but I'm soon cut off by a honk from the driveway. Gran gets to her feet slowly. She does everything slowly, and smiles. That'll be my Andrew, I presume. Must be back already. Let's all go and say hello, shall we? And let's all hope for the best while we're at it. Gran shuffles in the front door as though nothing is amiss. I trail along beside her, anxiety gnawing at the pit of my stomach like a monster. My stomach roils and I wince. I never thought I'd feel so anxious to be reunited with my parents again. What will they do when they see Elizabeth? What will they say? But as soon as it transpired, holy shit! I guess this is their dad before. He kinda looks like Edmund. Gizmo, I missed you, my darling. Come here. Dad throws his arms around me in a warm parental embrace the moment I open the door. He runs his fingers through my hair, ruffling it just like I expected. It really is predictable. Long hands back, arms folded as she looks at me up and down. My expression is critical, like a critic sizing up a painting in an art gallery. Is she afraid that I may have dyed my hair in her absence? I wish. You look well, Marnie. Their cheeks are a bit pink. Do you remember to put sunscreen on every day? Almost every day, Mom. One presses her lips together. Almost every day isn't not every day, Marnie. You know you need to be careful when you have such fair skin. I don't want you blistering like an oven-cooked tomato. Oh, come off it, Louise. We haven't seen our little girl in a week. Can you be a bit nicer to her? This is my way of being nice. I'm sorry for caring about my only daughter, Andrew. But I'll drop it for now. I don't want to cause a scene. And I'm not in the mood for an altercation. Flying does not agree with me. Right now, I just want to go home and get some sleep. Lost in a dream of old Valentin, huh? What I dream of is none of your concern. My brother pokes my dad in the side, between his ribs, and he laughs and jerks away from her, just like an overgrown schoolboy. Sorry, Louis. Sorry, I can't resist.
You never can you? You're just like a child.
You've always been like that, my Andrew. Personally, I think it's a good thing. Let's hope when he gets to my age, he's still as spry as he is now.
Spry is one word for it, I suppose.
And how would you choose to define me, my wonderful wife? Ask again later when I don't have a ringing headache. I bet you are, Louise. Louis? Hold on. Alright, how do I pronounce this?
Louise.
Yeah, it's Louise. Because not an S though. It's just Louis.
PronounceNames.com.
Shut up. Get on with it.
Louis.
It's just Louis. Okay. Weird name, but okay. Right, you are, Louis. Anyway, do you want to pop in for a cup of tea? Help with your aching head if you don't mind, do you, Gran? Of course not. I'll put the kettle on. Well, I was hoping to be back ASAP, but Mum sighs and presses her fingers to her forehead, massaging her temples. It might be nice to sit down for a while. Thank you, Iris. I appreciate your kind offer. Oh, you don't need to thank me, Louise, dear. I'm always happy to help my daughter along. I'm glad you and Andrew come to visit me so often. It's more than Letta does, so I suppose she does live in York. Gran shovels back into the house and Mum follows along beside her. Gran pauses in the doorway and glances at my dad, shielding her rheumy blue eyes from the harsh sunlight. Want to take a cup of tea too, Andrew? That'd be grand, Mum. Whisk me up a cup, will you? I'll be there in a few. I just need to help Marnie with the suitcase first. And Lizzie, of course. Lizzie too, of course. Oh, Elizabeth blinks at Dad shyly, half hidden behind the door, and points to herself. You're talking about me? Of course I am. You're part of the family too, whether you like it or not. Now it's Elizabeth's turn to feel full brunt of my dad's overzealous affection. He ruffles her hair and squeaks in alarm, dropping her gaze to the carpet. I know I'm not your real dad, Lizzie, but I almost feel like it. Can't believe you've been living with us for a year already. Time really does fly. God, Andrew. Mum, who's slating off her wedge sandals in the entrance, just got a withering look from the shade. Don't talk to me about flying now. I'm not in the mood. Sorry about that, Louis. Just so happy to see my girls again. Lizzie may not be your daughter, but I told her dad I'd look out for her while he's away in the States. I promised I'd help keep her safe until she went off to uni. That's just what I'll do. You forget I'm the one who cooks our meals and cleans the house. You do a great job, Louis. Dad blows a kiss in Mum's direction and she rolls her eyes. Now let's get Holly's cases into the boot. Stand aside, you frail young women folk. As a man, it's my job to do the lifting. We're so chauvinistic, Andrew. This is the Middle Ages, and you love me for it. Dad flexes his non-existent muscles, then bends down to retrieve my suitcase. Oof. Staggers beneath the bulk of my suitcase, though it's heavier burden than Atlas had to bear. What have you got in here, Gizmo? Did you rob a bank? There aren't any banks around here to rob, Dad. You're not wrong there. Dad staggers the car. I open the boot and Dad dumps my suitcase into the back. And now for Lizzie's things. Elizabeth came to Fanchapel with nothing more than the clothes on her back, but in leaving it, she now has a suitcase full of clothes. The suitcase isn't Elizabeth's, and the clothes inside aren't hers. The suitcase is one of Frank's old ones. The clothes all cast off that used to be Aunt Letta's and Auntie Allison's. Gran bequeathed all these old bits and pieces to Elizabeth with a gentle smile and well wishes. Take these things, my dear. They'll be happy with you. In this old house, they do nothing to collect dust. Nor my dad will realize the clothes inside this case aren't Elizabeth's when later she unpacks them. Maybe he'll wonder if our brows furrowed while Elizabeth so many of his sister's old things. Maybe these old things will transform through magic, as though by magic during the journey back to Grimsby. After everything that's happened, I wouldn't be surprised. Magic has been a main theme of my brief stay in Fanchapel. Excuse me, I was wondering. Can I really come back with you? Is that alright? Well, you're more than welcome to stay with my mom if you want. But it may be a bit of a commute to college from here. I think it'd be easier if you came back with us, where you really belong. Where I belong? Elizabeth repeats under her breath with wide eyes. She looks at my dad, who's busy wrestling with her suitcase, and then back to the house. I'm sitting at the table in the kitchen, one leg over the other, while the Grand potters around in her slippers, busy brewing tea. They're my family, but I guess Elizabeth's now too. Marnie. Elizabeth reaches out, hands trembling, and links her fingers with my own. I don't believe it. I can really stay with you. We can stay together. It sure looks like it, huh? I'm not sure how it happened, but it's not like I want to question my newfound happy ending. I'm afraid if I start poking holes, this fantasy scene will collapse like an old fruit flan. I just want to enjoy the moment. It seems Elizabeth shared my sentiment because... Marnie, oh Marnie. Aww. She all but leaps at me and wraps her arms around my waist. I stagger back, almost collapsing, but I don't. Not quite. I'm able to find my balance in time, but Elizabeth's head is still resting against my own. Her arms loop throughout my body. It's a hot day, almost unpleasantly so, and Elizabeth's embrace is very warm. I'm going to start sweating. I'm going to start sweating if she doesn't get Lego soon, and all this black doesn't exactly help. Maybe Mom has a point. Maybe my fashion sense isn't practical. But I don't care about that now, and not when I'm with Elizabeth. We faced down dozens of trials and tribulations over the last week. Elizabeth pushed herself to the breaking point so she could uncover the truth. So she isn't Leofi. She was never Leofi. She's not a noble knight, but an anxious witch who never knew what it was like to have a happy, fulfilling life. She left her father and sister behind, and now they're both gone. She doesn't have any family anymore, but it's alright, Elizabeth. Don't cry. But I'm so happy. I can't help myself. It's just like a dream. I know it's like a dream, but it isn't. I promise you that. You have a new family, and you can start a new life. You're here now. You're with me, and we can be together. Do you mean that, Marnie? Do you want to stay with me? That's right, I do. Elizabeth's trembling hands on my own, squeezing them and looking into her eyes. Always. Aw. Yeah, it's quite a sweet ending. Damn, I've been on this one for ages. Any cool extras? Not that many CGs, honestly. I suppose it's fair enough. This was made by like 2 people. Or a handful of people. A decent amount of songs, too. This is long as fuck. I think I'll read this on my own time. But anyway, my voice is fucking dead. So I'll see you guys whenever. I'm going to take my usual few weeks break from visual novels, and then I'll get on whatever. The game does have a sequel, and I do own it. So I might do that. Or I might just... or I might do that one that Mother Satan really wants me to do. Has been badgering me for a while to get around to. We'll see. I operate my streaming entirely on my whims, because otherwise I'll get bored. But anyway, until next time, bye.